I'm getting my relaxing jazz going, so it's perfect. Oh, there. Yeet. Oh. everybody! Hi, I'm Salivor the Butler, and I welcome you to the Butler's Chambers. Hi.
I'm also here.
Yeah, Liz is also here.
Hey! Hey, I'm the local emotional support trans gal, I guess.
And I am the emotional support he, them.
Yeah. Oh, God. Chill, it just started. I'm doing... Okay, Sal, I'm sorry. I had to do a thing real quick.
Oh, no.
Ada.
Oh, my God, we're starting off the bat. Off of the bat. You know,
I didn't even prepare myself for that one. I was like, well, this is already going to be absolutely...
chaotic and great and fun.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Sal, I saw what you said there about the freaking... What's with the Josh Allen comment? What?
Look, I can't help it. I can't help. Why is that allowed in the league? There should be a handsome limit, and Josh Allen obviously breaks it. I'm not even a Bills fan, and I can say that.
Did I check the title? One sec. What is... One sec. Did I check the title? Yeah, it should be good.
Did you press the OK to switch it over?
I did not earlier, but it should be now. It should be fine.
Oh shit, I forgot to turn off one of them. Sorry, I will refund you on that, Queen of Blades. But unfortunately, since I have the live 2D, the confetti do not work.
Yeah. I was made painfully aware as soon as stream started that I accidentally forgot to change the title over, and I'm like, God damn it, I always do. Well, there's this nice little button here that I'm supposed to press, and I always forget to press it.
Did somebody say buttons?
What?
Did somebody say push the buttons?
Yeah. I'm very confused right now. I don't know where this is going.
I don't either. We're on the same page.
Also, one sec, just to get you all over to Sal's side, because I am not the only one here doing it. Oh wait, frick, that's right. I'm streaming my Discord. I can't do it that way. I can't grab your link that way because I'm streaming our actual Discord call. I nearly just... Okay, yeah, there is my VTuber Bros Twitch thing.
And hold on, I will post Lusa's in my chat real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm streaming off of the website that I found to do this, also known as, I literally just typed in football tier list, and this is the first thing that came up. All right.
Quick question. Did you get soccer or American football first?
American football was the first thing. Honestly, if I think I had my VPN active, it would have probably been soccer first.
You know what? I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Also, let me maybe click onto this tab real quick so that let me set shit up so I can read both chats and have that up on your stream. There we go.
Yeah.
Because I need to be actually like tabbed in for it to show, which is stupid. Thanks, Discord.
Yeah.
But our goal today is to rank all 32 NFL franchises. Yeah. Hello, Callan. I did see you there.
And not get just absolutely sidetracked while doing it.
Exactly, which is going to be the hardest challenge. Harder than any try not to laugh you've ever seen.
I can tell my chat just off the bat. I was trying to stream Final Fantasy 14 with Sal and chat and like read cutscenes and all that. And I got so sidetracked that I literally couldn't pay attention to any of it.
The conversation went about 30 different ways.
Yeah. And the two main things that I got from it after all that time was that the Warrior Lake was Xenos' emotional support envy, and that this is Thancred.
Hello, this is Thancred. No, we also got another one which we'll be talking about probably very shortly, saying I kind of want to go in alphabetical order, and the first order of business is the Arizona Cardinals. Oh
yeah, that's what
we have determined that Kyler Murray is a Lalafell. He is a tiny man.
He is a tiny man. And is either half of what's wrong with the team currently or not, or is Cliff Kingsbury is just god awful.
I'm going to argue Cliff Kingsbury is just god awful, and Kyler is honestly the only bright point of the fucking team.
Which shouldn't be possible since it has literally JJ Watt on the other side.
Yeah, you would think with JJ fucking Watt that you would have, a shot in hell at a defense. But Arizona is basically just continuing the form of the later half of last year, where they just completely collapsed. I'm just confused, like always. Good. That's going to be the theme of the stream.
Yeah. As one Yinzer once said, for those who don't know, that means that's basically a person from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
As one Yinzer once said, they literally are the Big Ten.
Yeah. They literally are the Big Ten of football at the moment, and it's kind of sad to see because they showed a really good form early on in last season, and then it just all fell apart, and it seems to just keep that path. It seems they haven't gotten back on the rails.
You want to know the worst part? If things continue on as they now have been, it's possible they could still win the division. Yeah,
okay. That's probably another topic we could talk about how the NFC West went from the fearsome division to mid.
The reincarnation of the NFC least.
Yeah. And even then, the NFC East has vastly improved in different and lovely ways that we'll probably get into later.
Some ways good, some ways not so good.
And then there's the Cowboys, who I perpetually fucking hate.
I think that goes for everyone. I'm a Bills fan. I wasn't alive, but I'm a Bills fan.
I'm a 49ers fan. Basically, it was my team or their team in the fucking Super Bowl for a good while.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yep.
Also, just want to make sure, forward to my chat. Can everyone hear Sal well?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Test 1 2.
And I guess the other way around is, do I sound good on your side, Sal?
You have about the same audio levels that I do, so you should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a second monitor, so I have no way.
I have 3 monitors, and I want to force.
I literally just have the TV.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's how I started out. I had a chat on my phone when I started.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yep. Makes that a little bit louder. That's the first time I've ever seen that in my entire life. Also, by the way, thank you for the warning.
I'll be quieter now. God dang it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have the same audio balancing as me.
Yeah, I'm a lot worse with this whole audio balance shit because I don't have this. All I have is my main monitor to go off.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But
okay, so
back on topic.
Cardinals.
The defense is severely lacking. The receiving core seems to be dropping shit that should be easy catches. And Kyler Murray is the one bright spot on the entire team.
Yep.
I'm personally going to say D tier because they have some level of talent and have been, winning games that they should be winning, but also losing games they should be winning.
We're basing this off of right now and not where we think they're going to be, right? Yeah, in that case, I'd say about D or C.
Yeah, I'd say D tier. Because the thing is, we can predict all we want where they're going to be, but this is football. Shit changes immediately and constantly.
Yeah. For example, the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, literally. Super Bowl champions to fucking trash tier.
The entire Bills organization nay-nayed on them.
They really, really did. Well, to be fair, we'll get to the Bills soon. We'll get to them. But yeah, I'm looking through Arizona's records. They've lost games against the Seahawks recently in week 6. Which, how the hell do you manage that? But they've won against the Panthers, which they should.
Yeah.
And they've won against the Raiders, which arguably they should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
It's only going downhill from here.
It really is. It really is.
All right, Atlanta. Is this a team?
I think. Not against the Buccaneers, but.
Not against the retirement home, but.
Yep.
But against my fucking Niners, they are.
Yep.
They apparently can score 28 on us.
I feel like their entire thing is basically run.
It is. It is solely run. And the problem is with Sunday's game, our biggest run blocker in Nick Bosa is out. Because of a shitty field quality over in fucking Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
So, a lot of our main contributors are fucking injured. So that probably explains why Atlanta could basically just run it down our throat.
And Jimmy G could not do anything to really...
See, okay, I'll talk about the 49ers in depth later as a fan, because I can get into it. But Atlanta seems to be actually doing well for itself. Football is kind of weird this season, though, because everyone's 500.
Everyone's safe for 3 teams up top and 2 teams at the bottom.
Yeah, pretty much everyone is 500. Everyone is mid, but some are better in the mid. And I risk saying Atlanta is the perfect mid.
Yeah, I think they're C tier.
I think they are too. I think they're better than the Cardinals because they have talents on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Except the talents can't overcome the rest of the team's ineptitude in other ways, and also can't overcome the fact that their coach barely has a functioning brain cell.
I thought they got rid of. I thought they got rid of the dysfunctional brain cells.
No, they found new ones.
Oh boy. The Atlanta Falcons are ADHD.
They are. They literally are. Because the thing is, they've won games against Seattle and the Browns. Yeah. And the 49ers, which are arguably not bad teams. But then they've lost to the Rams.
Yeah.
Who is arguably a bad team. We'll get into that more when we get there. Hello, Gore.
Sal, give me a moment. I need to do it again.
All right. You know what? One for free. At
least we're both doing it.
Exactly. Now it's...
Yeah.
I received a warning that chaos may ensue this stream.
Yeah. Both of us knew what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
just based on the 2 to 3 times that we've been in VC together.
Exactly.
I could do this 70 more times. Please don't, Gel. Please don't. No.
But back on the fucking topic of Atlanta, like,
Yeah.
the thing is, Marcus Mariota is their main quarterback at the moment, and I really liked Oregon's program back then. I'm not usually an overachiever fan, but goddamn was it fun to watch Oregon play. And watching him in the NFL is kind of like watching a sad old show dog be brought out again after it's lost its luster. It's sad to watch Mariota play in the NFL.
Yep.
And I had high hopes for the kid.
I don't know much about college football, so just trust what you say there and go along with it. I can't bring myself to watch college football.
I know. It's also the thing of trying to keep up with not only 32 different franchises and their shit, but also keeping up with hundreds of schools across the country, some that are just having hot streaks out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
I think one of them right now is Appalachia State. I don't know if they're still doing absolute miracles on the field, but they were for a pretty long time. And
wait, Appalachian State? I may no. Okay, wrong school. I was thinking that was who the Patriots got their first round.
Possibly.
Their first round pick. I thought it was from them.
Gorgeous said trying to watch football is like trying to keep track of all the VTubers that are graduating.
Yeah.
Especially probably in Canada where you're who the fuck is this? Oh wait, they're graduating.
To be fair, I'm just I'm gonna stick to my circle. I don't really care about the rest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, since we keep getting off topic.
Yeah, Atlanta, mid. Literally the perfect mid. They win against teams they should win against. They lose against teams they should win against. And their kicker is also a cool dude.
Yeah.
All right. Baltimore. What the fuck?
I would like to say they're good, except they literally can't do shit.
Okay, the thing is, Baltimore has flashes of what Lamar Jackson can be, and then they go back to who Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah.
Because Lamar Jackson is an extremely talented individual in multiple fucking ways. He can also just do the dumbest mistakes in the most crucial of times.
Yeah.
Throwing a ball on the fucking goal line when you need a touchdown.
And you're Lamar Jackson.
It goes to the other team.
Yeah.
Looking at their record, I want to say the only surprise on their record as of late is that they beat the Jets. That's the only surprise.
I mean, at least they beat the Jets.
Yeah, at least they beat the Jets.
But they lose to the Giants by blowing a lead. They lose to the Dolphins by blowing a lead. They literally give up the biggest blown lead that they could have to the Bills.
Yep. Not only that, they lost to the Dolphins sans Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Because he had a back injury. That wasn't a back injury.
I'll get into this more when we get to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm going to just straight up say it. There's a part of me the Dolphins shouldn't have won that game out of just the fact that Tua shouldn't have been in. You know what game I'm talking about.
Yes. We'll get to that. We will get to that. And the anger and frustration I feel over it. But the thing is, Baltimore hasn't impressed me in any of their wins. Their wins seem to either be lucky flukes or the other team giving the game away.
It really does feel this way.
Like I don't feel Lamar Jackson changed the pace of any of the games that he was in, and that's kind of an important fucking factor to have, especially once you get into the playoffs.
Yeah. It's like how people are like, he's an MVP candidate, and you're just saying they're like, if he's an MVP candidate, why is his team 3-3 right now?
Joe Flacco is more elite at this time, and he's not playing.
In all things serious, I feel Saquon Barkley right now has a better chance at winning MVP than 100%. Lamar Jackson does.
They lost to Danny fucking Dimes.
Yep.
That's all. To be fair, we will get into the New York Giants and how I feel about them. Yeah.
into a grate in the middle of the street.
Can. As they ask for spare change in a box.
God. It's falling into a hole in his coat, and he can't get it back out.
No, and he cries because that was his last one.
Well,
I'm gonna argue Baltimore D tier.
I want to say C tier just because they've shown flashes, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's also the hard time that a lot of teams are not performing well this season. So, like, teams that should be fucking murdering all of the NFL are just languishing.
Yeah, well,
I think Baltimore's in that position. I'm gonna move them up to C.
Okay.
But Baltimore has just not come back to form since their collapse last season. Once again, which is why I was wanting to argue D tier.
That is a good argument.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to move them up to C just because I think that Lamar's talents are better than Kyler's.
Once again, another division where literally anyone could be in first place right now.
Yeah, literally. Most of the divisions are pretty free, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Save for like 2, I think.
Yeah, save for like 2. Save for like 2. And one of them involves the Buffalo motherfucking Bills.
Hell yeah!
With the handsomest quarterback in football, one of the best receiving cores I've seen in a long fucking time. They have really taken that loss in the fucking playoffs and basically said, we are not allowing that to happen ever again.
It feels like the game had I'm happy. I'm going to say this first off. I'm happy that Brian Dable is doing well, yes. But it feels like the team is running better since he got his head coaching job. It feels like the team is running better and he's doing better.
Yeah, everything is clicking in the way it should.
You still got Leslie Frazier, who is an absolute god of a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
We got Von Miller, and even though the defense is injured heavily, you had Dane Jackson's scary injury. You have Tre'Davious White still out. You have I think Micah Hyde is out for the year.
Yeah, Micah Hyde is out for the season, I believe.
Yeah, you have so many key players, and yet the Bills. The main thing is just depth.
Yeah. And the thing is, their replacements, the second string, are still doing fucking fantastic.
Kaiir Elam has impressed me this year.
Immensely. I decided to go back and watch the condensed games. Because I have that ability. And it's easier to watch 40 minutes of football than it is 2 hours of football. When you're trying to research for this kind of shit. And honestly, the second stringers, the rookies, have impressed me on the Bills this year. And Von Miller has not lost a fucking step.
That really says something about just the locker room culture and just the sort of feeling that
the
Buffalo
culture
has.
is just great.
This is what a damn good culture looks like.
Yeah, this
Washington.
is what a damn good culture looks like. Like, this team has rallied around the idea of we are not fucking losing again, and Josh Allen, on his handsome fucking face and his wonderful shoulders, has lifted this team and said everyone perform, and they fucking have.
Every year he leaps over someone new.
Yeah,
And
no,
this is the second year in a row.
I'm like, you're a fucking quarterback. What are you doing hurdling people?
He could be just like the only thing I'm concerned about is like
His
saying
health.
this as someone who that, and also please don't give him a reception touchdown, otherwise we're going to lose another game.
Oh no, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Give reception to everyone else, but that's it's been a curse since the Texans game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're 0-4 when Josh Allen has a receiving touchdown. Or something like that.
I'm going to say Buffalo A tier or S tier. The way I'm basically doing it is S is I believe these two teams, these teams have a shot at the Super Bowl. A is like they're going to make the playoffs for sure. B is like probably going to bow out of the playoffs. C is going to be basically on the cusp.
Yeah.
D has no shot, and F is going to be vying for first draft pick.
I can think of two teams there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it, and this is, I will admit, I'm a Bills fan. I am probably being biased here. S tier. I feel like they're one of the few clear-cut teams that really have a chance at the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say the same thing at this point in the season. Buffalo
They
is
lost
S tier.
They lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round last year and came back angrier than a Lalafell on YouTube.
Literally, and beat them by 4 in a game that was hard fought.
Yep. They're losing close. No, they're winning close games this year.
Yeah.
And that is not something they were doing last year.
And they're destroying teams as well. They fucking annihilated Pittsburgh defensively.
Annihilated Pittsburgh. Put Rams in their place.
By the way, this is Gore. I will say that's the old logo. It has changed. I just don't think this tier list has the new one.
The Washington logo?
Yeah, the Washington logo.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to be fair, half the people don't exactly... I feel like half the people don't exactly accept it still.
No, I just think Commanders is the most basic fucking name they could have come up with. And also, how do you rally chants around that? It's not like their old name was much better, but that one's just fucking hell.
It doesn't help that they're in the capital, and some people call them the commies.
The commies have invaded the capital.
Also, hey Ruby, they made hey win the Super Bowl just as you're spouting hyperbole. Shush, Ruby, shush.
Nah, I honestly, I'm agreeing mainly just from the on the field that I've seen.
Yeah, they're one of I think like 3 teams I think right now that have a legitimate chance.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the team that has no chance in hell, Carolina.
Congrats, Carolina, you got rid of Matt Rule. Now what else are you gonna do?
Carolina is 42 players who basically go for rec league, forgetting they're in the NFL.
And one Christian McCaffrey.
And Christian McCaffrey, who takes the game way too seriously.
Yeah.
The problem is he is not the only member of the team, and there's not a defensive end who cannot see.
There's a part of me that's legitimately wondering, because I thought that Sam Darnold would do. I thought what a lot of people I feel thought. I thought Sam Darnold would do better when he got over there. I thought that Baker Mayfield would do good when he got over there.
Yeah,
and
because Baker Mayfield is not a bad quarterback. He is a mediocre quarterback, but he is not a bad quarterback. And just Carolina does not have any pieces working together.
Yeah.
The quarterback is independent of the scoring core. The scoring core can't seem to figure out the other team's defensive schemes. The O-line is more open than a fucking cheesecloth. The defensive line can't seem to penetrate anyone's O-lines, even terrible teams.
It really says that.
And the safeties don't know what the fuck they're doing. Every single loss I've seen them have is basically them bumbling around the field like that video of the blind kid playing football. And it's bad.
Who is their one win again?
The fucking Saints.
How?
That's my question. It was early. It was the halfway point of the season before they realized, oh yeah, we have Taysom Hill.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
So it was the Saints in a bad time.
Yeah, that's...
But also, their strength of schedule for the last 3 games should have them higher on this list, if we're being honest.
It should, especially, like, they were in the lead for most of the game this last week.
Yep. And then the Rams remembered what an offensive scheme was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to be ran a train by the 49ers 37-15. I'm just going to say it.
Crazy.
It's F tier.
It's F tier. Yeah.
It is F tier. The Carolina Panthers are not a cohesive unit in any side of the ball. They are individuals playing football, and that's not how you fucking play the game.
It feels like they tried to reload after Cam Newton left.
Mm-hmm. The second time?
And it backfired horribly on them both times. It's honestly, it's kind of amazing just how much it backfires, because there's one team right now that's reloaded very, very well, as much as I hate to say it, as one of their rivals. How do they keep on finding 7th-round good QBs?
It just fucking happens. It just happens.
I'm getting ahead of myself now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. The point is, Panthers are bad.
The Panthers are so bad that even like the last season Jets were a more cohesive unit. And that's saying a lot.
It's kind of crazy.
I feel bad for anyone in the Carolinas who has to watch that football on a weekly basis.
I got cousins there. I think they're Tampa fans, though.
That's probably this. No, actually, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay, and is Chicago next?
It is Chicago and the Bears.
They're also F tier.
Okay, I will argue they're D tier. Because the thing is, like, okay, some of their losses are losses they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But it's mainly just because they're being held back by a very scared quarterback. That's the only real downside. The receiving core is actually pretty good when Geno Smith decides to actually throw the ball to them. The running...
That's not Geno Smith.
Oh, it's not Geno Smith. Fuck. Who the fuck is their quarterback? God damn it. I swear I remember the fucking name. Justin Fields. God damn it. Who's Geno Smith? Why did I come up with...
He's with the Seahawks right now.
God fucking damn it. Okay. No, we'll talk about actually the team that Geno Smith is on later in this fucking stream. No, Justin Fields is a very scared quarterback, and it shows.
Yeah.
Honestly, when Mitch Trubisky is the better choice, that's telling. Even though Mitch Trubisky is no longer on the team, I'm well aware.
But
Keeping him would have been the better choice than putting out Justin Fields.
But like,
that one I actually know.
Bout of like, I know the pain of a franchise. My dad's a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels weird saying that, like, what was going on? What has happened? They've made playoff runs several times.
Yeah.
And now they just completely fall apart.
Yeah, and I think it's basically solely on Fields' shoulders, because the thing is, their D-line is also pretty damn good at squashing run. They have good elements. It's just they don't get points. They don't run down the field efficiently. And they're hampered by a quarterback who's scared to throw the fucking ball. Which is, half of the goal of the quarterback.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And this is, like, running is good and all, but this is a league where you have to be able to pass. And you can't just run.
Yeah, well, okay, some teams can if they have the O-line royalty, but...
Yeah. That's fair.
Chicago does not.
Yeah.
So
and even then, I still do not feel like they would be good enough even then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would not be able to just be run. They wouldn't be able to play 1920s football. I'm gonna say D tier for now because there are good elements to this team, unlike Carolina. But they're just hampered by some really, really bad offensive things, and also their scheme planning is garbage on the offensive side.
I'll concede to you. There's a part of me that still feel like F tier, but at the end of the day, they have at least, I think, 2 wins right now, right?
Yes, they have 2 wins against Texans, and San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I will say the San Francisco game, though, was against, Trey Lance, who I still have severe questions about, and the worst weather I've ever fucking seen in my life at a football game. I am shocked fans went to go through a monsoon in Chicago.
That is completely fair. I will still say you are right. They have good elements. I'll concede on D tier.
Okay. Next up, Cincinnati. How the fuck did you make a Super Bowl run?
I have very strange feelings because, like, when they play good, it feels like they play pretty damn good. But
yeah.
That initial 2 to 3 game stretch at the beginning of the year.
Because the thing is,
losing to the Steelers, losing to Dallas, and just they try to improve the O-line. It does not work.
Yeah, the O-line is still a massive issue and is going to cause massive problems.
And they still got a bad
for
head
Joe
coach.
Burrow. Because let's face it, the man has already been injured before because of bad O-line. You would think that would be their priority, is protecting the QB. And it just seems like the O-line has regressed, and it got very exposed during that Super Bowl game.
Either during the Super Bowl... No, not the Super Bowl game. I'd say the Titans game.
Okay, that too, but Titans D-line at the time was probably one of the bigger strong suits of the Titans.
Yeah.
But it showed that Cincinnati had severe holes in O-line that weren't patched. And now that people know those holes and know how to exploit them, Burrows is just getting buried.
Last year, Cincinnati was the ultimate Cinderella team that went farther than anyone expected, and now they're being brought back to the reality of we can't just throw the ball to
we're an Ohio team.
That too, but they can't just throw the ball to Jamar Chase anymore.
Yeah, because Now people know Jamar Chase is, an absolutely elite back. So now they're double and triple covering him.
Yeah. They need to
Diversify their core.
Something together.
Yeah.
It's possible they make the playoffs, but they will probably bow out. So B is my thought.
I will say B tier for Cincinnati, because the thing is also they won games against teams, looking at their record, that I honestly think should have beat the Bengals, such as the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It'd be a weird year.
It do be.
Oh boy.
It really fucking do be.
I'm just glad that I'm outside the chaos.
I am too. Speaking of Ohio teams, the Browns.
Oh, I'm so glad that this team sucks.
I am too, to an extent.
Why
were they getting cocky?
Did you see the I don't remember exactly what it was, the thing during the New York Jets game earlier this year, like the happy endings are allowed or whatever it was. Oh god.
Yeah, oh my god. To lose in such a crushing fashion against the Jets probably fucked with the team morale. Because everyone coming into the season thought the Jets were going to be an absolute shit tier team.
Yep, lose to the Jets, lose to Bailey Zappi.
Lose to Bailey Zappi. Lose to Spanos.
just somehow loses to the Chargers.
And then loses to fucking Belichick.
Yeah.
And the hobbling corpses. But the thing is, I will say one bright spot of this year, that Steelers game against the Browns is quite possibly the best comedy I've seen this year. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Like, the way that game ended, I was eating dinner, watching it on my phone when I watched that game. And I had to hold my mouth shut to stop myself from laughing too hard.
Is this week 1 you're talking about?
This is week 3.
Week 3. I don't remember week 3.
Okay, so basically, end of the game. If I remember correctly what happened, basically, Cleveland scores a touchdown, gives it back to Pittsburgh during the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh starts running it down the field, looking like they're going to make a comeback. And then they throw the ball straight to Cleveland for a pick six, basically sealing the game as lost.
Oh my god.
It was the greatest comedy I've ever fucking seen.
Oh my god.
And the thing is, the biggest gripe I'm going to have is I know when the terrible person they now have as their technical starting quarterback,
when he gets back, they're going to suck.
They're going to suck more, in fact, I think. I think who they have now is the better quarterback. And the thing is, he's already been exposed as a fraud, and Cleveland's still trying to get the old Texans out of him.
I don't understand. He's not going to be
he's not going to be what Cleveland needs.
Fit. Maybe he'll be fit, but he won't be able to really play. They're going to, even if it's not the Texans. Yeah. Even if it's not the Texans that he's coming back again, since there's
he's coming
more
back to Amari Cooper, and that's it. That is their receiving core at the moment. It's Amari Cooper. And that's only because he is extremely talented.
His arrival got the rest of the talent to fuck off.
Yeah.
And that
killed
Kevin
the team.
Stefanski, what the fuck did you do?
Kevin Stefanski does what Kevin Stefanski does best, where he takes a team, he goes, this is mine now, and then crushes it under his heel. It is literally his MO, and I'm shocked that people haven't realized it yet. I'm going to argue they belong with the Bears in D tier, because they have had some entertaining matches and they do have some level of talent on the team. It's just Cleveland has no shot.
Even if Jacoby Brissett gets them in a good place when he gets back, they're going to be so terrible after he comes back that it's going to nullify everything, and they might as well just miss the playoffs because he's coming back. So D tier. Yeah. I know we're not ranking it on where they're going to be, but it's pretty obvious to tell what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think they're vying for number 1 pick territory. They're too good for that. But I think they are definitely not gonna. They're gonna be not in the playoffs. Yeah. If we're talking future.
Welcome back to mediocrity, Cleveland.
Welcome back. The dog pound is not having a special. You have to pay full price. Yep. All right. How about them Cowboys? They're shit.
Why does this team win?
Okay. To be fair, the only real challenges in their strength of schedule so far over the past 6 weeks has been their wins against Cincy and New York. Otherwise, their wins are against the Commanders, the Rams, and they lost against the fucking Bucks.
Yeah.
The Eagles, I will understand that loss. The Bucks.
I'm still just like, I can't believe that they. How?
And the thing is, they're winning games without Dak Prescott, which honestly I think is probably a good sign that Dak does not need to be there. Because going off of last season, I have not laughed harder in my fucking life than to watch the comedy of errors that Dallas made against San Francisco after being so fucking cocky.
Oh, that must have been beautiful for you.
Oh, it was.
14. I was watching that. I was watching that from the Nickelodeon stream.
Oh, because that's the only way to watch it.
Yeah, everyone was absolutely confused in the commentators.
The QB slide to trying to set the ball yourself, to losing the game because of it, to blaming the ref for your forgetfulness about the rules of football that are basically ingrained in you in Pee Wee League.
Yep. That's how it is.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Dallas?
What the worst part is, you want to know what the worst part out is? This isn't Dallas, but it makes me sad knowing that my team lost a game this year in the exact same goddamn fashion.
Yeah. I know, but
at least we got Ken Dorsey's absolutely exploding.
Yeah.
But back to why the hell are the Giants? Not the Giants. Why? Well, we'll get to why the hell the Giants are winning later. Why the hell are the Cowboys winning?
I honestly think, even with the loss of Amari Cooper, everyone else on the team is still talented. It's just usually when they lose, it's due to their own hubris or mistakes. So it's basically they have very good high-end talent on that team. They just keep shooting themselves in the foot.
If Jerry Jones wasn't as meddlesome and Mike McCarthy wasn't their head QB, head coach. Yeah. If those two things were changed, they would probably have gone to
Mike McCarthy won one. He won one with Green Bay. He's totally not a fraud.
Yeah. we thought that about a certain someone with the Broncos as well a few years back.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
I don't like to remember those times. That was the bad years for Denver.
Pat.
Yeah. But basically, the Dallas Cowboys are winning games off of talent alone and losing games due to the mistakes the talents are making.
Yep.
It's very undisciplined football, and that's not going to help you in the playoffs. I'm going to argue B tier.
B tier sounds exactly like the Cowboys.
I think it's going to be a first round exit again.
Against the 49ers again.
Oh my God, how much I would love that. But
that would be absolutely wonderful.
I would have a good week off of that if that were to happen again.
Yeah. Either way, we shall all revel in their eventual failure.
We will revel in their eventual failure. We will revel in the fact that Scooter, one of the YouTubers who absolutely loves them, is going to be depressed again. And we're going to love that
Skip
Bailey is going to have another reason to smoke a cigar with a $100 bill. Lighting it.
Yeah.
And then fucking roasting the Cowboys for the reasons they deserve to be roasted, to the fact where a former Cowboy even kind of sort of agreed with him.
Yep.
Even though he didn't want to.
I cannot wait to see Stephen A. Smith absolutely just
roast the fuck out of Mike McCarthy.
Seeing him do that after back during like the Thanksgiving game and like I think it was 2019 after the Bills won against them, that was absolutely beautiful.
Yes. But this team is basically going to do their usual shtick, winning games by bullshit and talent, getting to the playoffs and realizing talent can only get you so far if you're going to make stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the Broncos.
F tier. They have Russell Wilson. They have
they don't have Russell Wilson. They have current Russell Wilson. They thought they were going to have another Peyton Manning. They really fucking thought they were going to have another Peyton Manning, where basically, even though he was starting to kind of falter in Indy, you bring him to the Broncos, he gets revitalized, and then he basically runs your fucking team to a Super Bowl.
The strange thing is that they have like 2 or 3 wins somehow.
Yeah, they have 2 wins, but
they somehow won against the Seahawks.
No, their 2 wins are the Texans and the 49ers.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm still. One of those is like
they lost to the Seahawks. Actually,
I thought that they won. I thought they won.
Should have.
Okay, my bad.
They really fucking should have, but they didn't.
They couldn't get the ball into the goddamn end zone.
They couldn't, not once.
They still really can't.
No,
they gave us the worst primetime game in.
It's because Russell Wilson went from Legion of Boom, where basically he had the greatest running back to ever play the game. I will fucking argue that Marshawn Lynch is the greatest running back to play this game.
Yeah.
And a defense that could basically stop anything with amazing fucking corners such as Richard Sherman, and an incredible D-line that could just find holes and run and shut them down, or find holes and run and just blitz the quarterback. He came from one of the greatest teams we've ever seen, as much as it pains me to say that because they're a division rival, to kind of watching all that chip away to now a Broncos team who... it's like 1 or 2 receivers who could make extreme differences in games if they could actually fucking catch the ball. They just drop passes that are basically handed to them. And it's disappointing. I thought so too. I thought, honestly, having Russell Wilson as a quarterback would at least excite the team enough, but they're doing things that make no sense.
I I don't know what to say that you haven't already said. They're one of the worst teams that I feel I've seen
like
in a good few years.
Yeah. What we said about Carolina is basically it's individuals playing on a team where none of them are cohesive. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos seem like they should be a very cohesive unit. They just can't figure shit out.
Yeah.
They are just held back by ineptitude in coaching. I honestly think it is the coaches. Because they're running plays that make no sense. They're trying things that have already proven to not work. And they're basically parading the death of a quarterback.
Nathaniel Hackett's not the he was the Green Bay Packers special team person. No. He was their special
Was
team
he special
head coach,
teams
right?
last year?
I believe he was the special teams coach.
Wait, then why the fuck would you hire him? Hold on, does anyone remember how bad Green Bay's special was last year?
He was
That
also
literally gave the Niners a win that they should not have gotten.
And as far as I can tell, I may be wrong about this. He was also a head coach for the Buffalo Bills years back. Started 5-1 and then cratered to I think 7-9, and just did not win after that.
Yeah, no, it's literally like
it's purely coaching.
Yeah, it's purely a coaching issue, and it's one that is gonna be hard as fuck to fix. Because how do you convince them to basically hire an all-new staff mid-season?
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen coaches leave. The Carolina Panthers are now under new coaching. That's not new. What is new is basically failing so bad at every part of the ball that it feels like you need a complete refresh.
It's kind of insane.
It is. And it's so sad to see Russell be reduced to this. Even though there are times I have cursed that man out because he has done horrendous things to my 49ers. It's just, it's sad to see the old man throw.
It is.
Every throw, I feel like he's going to dislocate his fucking shoulder. And it's sad to see. It's sad to see that Denver basically thought they were going to get Peyton Manning 2 without realizing that they need the talent to support it.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that pretty much settles it on the Broncos. Yeah.
I think they're vying for first draft pick.
At this
Speaking
point, yeah.
of F tier, Detroit is also going there. I don't think there's much to discuss.
I want to say D so bad, but yeah.
I want to as well. Because the thing is, Detroit has actually figured out an offensive rhythm. They're scoring points.
Yeah.
Well, not last week, but...
No. But at the same time, that's...
Their losses are 48-45 against the Seahawks, 24-28 against the Vikings, and 38-35 against the Eagles. They're scoring. That's more than we could say last year, where they basically were allergic to the end zone and were basically winning off of kicks.
It says a lot.
And it's basically the MO of their quarterback at the moment, Jared Goff, because it was the same thing when he went to the Rams. Basically, his first year, he floundered badly, and then he found his rhythm, and it just clicked.
Yep.
And that's this thing that's happening with the offense now. The problem is the defense cannot stop anything to save their life.
They're going to draft high, and they're going to spend those picks on defense. And I can only hope for the sake of everyone in Detroit that they finally become decent for the first time in forever.
If they get first pick should be a safety.
Yes.
They are horrendous when it comes to deep ball. I watched the Detroit game in week 5 and seeing them just basically hanging off receivers and of the Patriots and not scoring a single point, because if Patriots have one thing, it's a defense.
Yeah.
But watching basically the safeties hanging off the receivers and not being able to bring them down is going to kill them.
Their only bright side on their defense is the first rounder that they picked this year, I think.
Yeah, and the defense needs an entire refresh. If that means trading away members to get it, that might be what they have to do during this point of the season. They need a competent defense.
They're going to need it if they want to try not going for the number one pick. If they want to at least try and say, hey, we're doing our record's better. We're getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, getting a win early in the season, because I think it was pretty late last season when they got their first win.
It was Minnesota and Arizona that they got their wins against.
Yeah, and to be fair, this was Arizona during their flop era that they're still in. Yes, you've been gone for like an hour and we've only got through 11. It's because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Yeah. So, I want to give Detroit D tier so badly. I see the improvement, and honestly, it's one of the few underdog teams I want to see succeed so badly.
Maybe as the year goes on, one of us could give them that D tier, but for right now,
now their defense just is so godly awful that they can't even compete with anyone in D tier right now.
Yep. I hope the best. But
yeah, I wish for the best for this franchise, because honestly, they fucking deserve it. After having such amazing, talented people on their roster, they deserve success at this point. Having Megatron, having Matt Stafford, Matt Stafford has proven himself as a good quarterback. I already knew that. From watching him play.
The only reason Matt Stafford isn't doing good right now is because he doesn't have an O-line.
Yeah. That seems to be the problem with a lot of teams this year, though, is that the O-line has degraded.
Yeah.
I'm
Who's
so
next?
sorry to have to do this to everyone here. We have to talk about the Packers. Their wins, the thing is about the Packers right now, their wins are against teams I think they should be winning against. Their losses are against teams I think they should be losing to. They're the epitome of mid. They're meeting expectations. The problem is the expectations were so high from last year that it makes them look way worse than they fucking are.
They lost Devontae Adams.
They lost a good portion of their team to contracts.
Yeah. But just specifically, they lost the number one receiver.
Yeah. They lost their number one, and it shows.
Aaron Rodgers has suddenly regressed significantly.
Yeah. Who knew that becoming crazy and talking on podcasts about conspiracy theories and shit could cause your team to fucking collapse? And Aaron Rodgers recently came out in an interview and said that the scheme play needs to be simplified. And part of me wants to think that will help, and part of me thinks that's not the issue.
They also aren't running the ball as much as they probably should be, considering that is the offensive bright spots.
That is the offensive bright spots. And the thing is, I haven't really gotten to see their full display yet, because I just haven't seen them do much this year. But the special teams has nothing special about it again.
Figured that it would be it's Rich Bisaccia who's in charge of special teams, who we saw what he was doing with the Raiders last year. Why didn't you make him head coach? But there's no helping these Packers.
There isn't. And special teams was an obvious downside the entire season and lost them the game against the Niners. The Niners were not able to generate offense against that Green Bay defense, which is now also hampered for multiple reasons.
They allowed the Jets to get back into the...
Yeah.
No, they allowed the Giants to get back into the game. They refused to do anything against the Jets,
Yep.
basically.
They refused to stop the Jets.
Yeah. They let the Jets basically beat them. They let the Jets defense beat them.
Yes.
They didn't... Even though Sauce Gardner didn't get that touchdown at like the very start of the game, that was indicative of how that entire game went.
Yeah, pretty much. Green Bay's defense has regressed significantly in that time frame. But the thing is, during that playoff game last season, the Green Bay defense was solid, but the 49ers defense was too. That game was a true chess match of trying to even get the ball down the field for a majority of it. And then special teams basically threw away 10 whole points with a missed field goal and giving the 49ers their only touchdown of the game, which led to them winning. The 49ers should not have won that game, in my opinion. But it was special teams failings. And it seems like none of those failings have been fixed.
I don't know how if the Packers are anywhere, they're either B or C.
I'm going to say C. They're completely meeting expectations. But the problem is they're not beating any of the teams in B and S tier so far, and any of the teams we're going to put in A tier.
Yeah.
They're not beating those teams. They're losing against teams which we have called mid to ineffective. Or they're winning. They're losing against teams that we've considered mid or ineffective.
Teams that they should not be losing against.
Yeah, teams that old, like last year, Rodgers would have steamrolled. He would have steamrolled this this Bengals squad. He would have steamrolled this Dallas squad last year.
The Tampa Bay game would not have been as close as it was.
It would have been an offensive shoot match. But now it's just Rodgers isn't the same quarterback he was. The receiving core has been severely hampered by the loss of their number one. And the defense has just given up. Like points that shouldn't be points.
Yeah.
They're the epitome of mid and possibly either early round playoff loss or not even making it this year. For the first time in a long time. After being the division leader.
Like 2017 or something like that?
Yeah, 2017 I think is the last time they weren't in the playoffs.
And I think that was when Rodgers got injured.
Yeah, and they were... it wasn't Love at the time. Love was drafted in 2019, I believe. It was their backup at the time, who was still good, but not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just... They're the epitome of mid. What's not the epitome of mid is Houston.
Yep.
I need to take a sip before I talk about Houston and not a liquor. The Texans are 1-3-1, with their only win being last week against the Jaguars.
They are F.
Yeah. Once again, Texans are basically a unit of individuals, a similar problem that Carolina is going through, where there could be individual talent on the team, but they're not meshing with any other portion.
They got a decent running back.
They do have a very decent running back, but their quarterback is to the point where I'm probably going to have to look him up right now. Who the fuck is D. Mills?
Davis Mills, yeah.
Yeah, literally their only bright spot is Pierce with 412 yards and 3 touchdowns. Their other running back only has 64. And their receiving core apparently has 272 yards on the season so far.
That's a very few yards.
That's very few for being in week 6. Basically being
Wow.
at the kind of halfway point in the season. That's very few yards to have. And I'm guessing it's just because of drop passes or because of being stripped of the ball, which happens to them constantly because they don't have ball control.
They really, there's even though there is one singular bright spot, it is so insignificant, it doesn't do anything to elevate the rest of the team.
It just gets them points. And the thing is, their losses are by double digits. Except for, like, 2.
Yeah.
Like, their loss against the Bolt is by 10 points. They kind of kept it close with Chicago, but come on. And
it's Chicago.
And they lost by 5 against the Broncos without scoring a single touchdown. Which is a competitor in F tier. I would even argue that Houston is in a tier below F if I were to make it.
They are the number 1 pick team.
They are the team competing for number 1 pick. And I can't tell if this is an intentional tank or not at this point.
I really can't.
Half of me says the team is probably losing to get better draft picks. Half of me is saying that the team is just that ineffective against the modern game.
I feel like it's somehow a combination of both.
Yeah.
Because...
And also, how the fuck do you tie the Colts? In the first game of the season.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't...
Houston makes my head hurt.
Yeah. I will say, I'm glad to see them suffer.
Yeah, after the hubris of the Deshaun Watson era, I'm glad to see them suffer.
Trading away, DeAndre Hopkins.
Trading away all of their good fucking players is the stupidest decision a coach can make. You trade them away when they start going down in production, not when they go up in production, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
They
what do you know? You went 0-4. You went 0-4 for the next like 4 games after that.
Yeah.
What do you expect to happen?
Nothing less if you're working with a brain cell.
Yeah.
But it's just Houston isn't a team, and none of the players are recognizable except for the RB. And there's only so much run you can do.
Yep. Titans are proof of that.
Yeah. Speaking of how the fuck do you tie these teams? Colts.
On the other side of the worst primetime game that has ever been played.
Yes. In my opinion. But the thing is, like, I want to say this team is F tier or D tier. But then they get a win against the fucking Chiefs. And the other 2 wins are against opponents they should be winning against in the Broncos and the Jaguars.
This is the ultimate what the fuck are you team.
It is. And the funniest part is they fucking lost to the Jaguars without scoring a single point in week 2 and then go 34-27 with them in week 6.
They've spent way too long pretending that QB is the only problem.
Yeah, QB is not their only issue. I know losing Luck was a big hit to that team, and having Pagano basically get really, really sick was also a huge issue for that team. But the bigger issues lie with, I want to say, the receiving core.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
I want to say it's a receiving core because the defense isn't bad per se. It's not great. It's not bad, though. And the quarterback they have right now is Matt Ryan, who is doing a pretty bang-up job for a team that is 3-2-1.
He should. They should, I feel, be better than they are. But I don't know how to feel about them.
I want to say D tier.
I don't know. Yeah, D tier, because God, these last few teams have absolutely sucked the soul out of us.
Really have, because it's just trying to figure out what is truly wrong with the Texans is difficult as hell. And figuring out what is going up with the Colts, even though they're in a winning record and are second in the AFC South, like, there are also just problems with this team that are beyond comprehension in a way. And the thing is, I'm looking at the numbers for the receiving core. Pittman has 417 yards on the season so far. That's not a bad number.
That's pretty damn good.
But then his next highest is 271. So that kind of indicates to me that Pittman is the trusted one and everyone else is kind of the secondary option.
That sounds about right.
And that's, if you have an extremely talented receiver, like if you have a fucking Deebo Samuel, you can play like that. If you have a receiver, but they don't have a Deebo.
Yeah.
They don't have that ultra skilled, like, back who can just catch balls that should not have been caught. And they have impressive plays, but it's just, I don't see this team getting to the playoffs.
They are not.
Yeah.
That entire division, that is another division that's just like, none of these teams feel like they deserve to make it.
Yeah. And we have to talk about them, unfortunately. It is time to mourn the death of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even though they are only 2-4.
Wait, I thought they were dead already.
They've been dead for years. Tony Khan obviously does not give a shit about that team.
Yeah.
Tony Khan only cares about his fucking son's wrestling organization and his football team. His
the other kind of
football team. Honestly, I heard this from Tree, and it made the most sense to me. If relegation was in football, Jacksonville would be relegated.
What does that mean?
Okay, so in Premier League, the lowest teams in the Premier League get relegated to a lower league.
Oh.
So the teams that are just severely underperforming aren't allowed in the Premier League.
Got it.
So Jacksonville would have been a relegated team by this point. And that's the team that everyone fucking talks about when it comes to starting up a football team in London. I don't think anyone wants to be subjected to that.
No.
I think it's going to be the scenario where, if you remember when, I believe it was the Chargers came to LA, where basically the entire stands are just going to be the opponent's colors. If Jacksonville moves to London.
That sounds about right, because that there isn't really a home team there.
Yeah.
And they're going to, for a long time, they're not going to be good enough in order to gain a substantial fan base. If any team, I feel, was to, like, fold at all, and that's kind of crazy to say because Detroit's been bad for even longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be... if a team is going to just disappear, it's going to be the Jaguars.
Yeah. And the thing is, the Jaguars had moments of greatness, but since they came to this league, the only bright spot's been the defense. And even then, they don't have that now.
Yeah.
F tier.
F tier.
Jacksonville
we need to get our... We need to get our energy back up. Like Kyler Murray long
We
ago.
do.
Ha, ha.
Ha 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 ha. Kyler Murray short. Okay, no, this is gonna get our energy up. The Chiefs.
I'm a happy Bills fan tonight. I'm a happy Bills fan tonight.
As
There's
you
no
fucking
A here.
should.
I'm a happy Bills fan tonight.
Oh,
They are
I
A tier,
can
though.
imagine. They are very much fucking A tier. If the Bills are S tier, Kansas City easy A tier.
Yeah.
Even losing their number one, which is the same problem that happened to
The Packers.
the Packers. Thank you. I was trying to remember which team. Even losing their number one, they haven't missed a fucking beat.
They've become a more cohesive unit overall.
Yeah.
That was a hella close game yesterday.
Yeah,
They
24
could've
to
won.
20. And it was basically a repeat of that AFC championship game. Or no, it wasn't AFC championship. It was AFC divisional.
Yeah. One of the best games that's ever been played.
Oh, 100%.
Period.
I agree. Those are the football games I fucking love. There's something funny in a blowout, but there's something even greater in teams basically having a slugfest where you don't know truly what is going to be the outcome. And the thing is, the teams they're winning against are teams they should be fucking beating. And their only loss that confuses me is the Colts, but it was the Colts early in this season.
Yeah. Early season, every team is still kind of hitting their stride. And
Yeah. Because let's face it, preseason is basically useless. Preseason is basically just getting practice time for your second and third stringers.
Pretty much.
You cannot judge this season on preseason.
Patrick Mahomes is a goddamn magician. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league. Juju is... maybe.
He's in talks for the best in the league.
Yeah.
I would say Cooper Kupp and George Kittle would like to have a couple words about that.
Wait, Cooper Kupp is a tight end?
I believe so.
I thought he was a wide receiver.
No, I believe he's a tight end.
Huh. You're very... Okay, yeah, in that case. Hey, it's like, he's up there with Cooper Kupp and George Kittle.
He's up there with the best.
Yeah.
But it's a slugfest for the best in that position. And you also have to equate blocking, which if we were to do that as well, then Kelce probably is near the top of those talks. Because Kelce is also really fucking great at run defense.
Yeah. I know it felt cathartic for Chiefs fans. It felt cathartic for me as well. Seeing them hit the Buccaneers as much as they did.
Yeah. We'll get to Tampa Bay later in this list, but boy, is it fun to watch Tom Brady lose. It brings me joy.
It brings me joy for two reasons.
And the thing is, the people they brought in to replace their number one is Juju Smith-Schuster, which honestly, I kind of squinted at. Like, you're going to bring in Juju?
You try bringing in Le'Veon Bell and now this guy?
Yeah, like, why would you do that? And then Juju Smith-Schuster just flourishes on that fucking team. 370 yards, 27 receptions, 1 touchdown, and a 13.7 average.
The Steelers have had an offense problem for a long time, and
we know. Yeah. We know. The fact that Days of Our Steelers is probably coming back on Tree's channel is indication of that. It's just they somehow nailed that pick, and I have to give it to them. Like, that was probably the best pick you could have made.
They still got McCole Hardman. They still got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Kelce. They got so many good people. I don't know any of the people on their defense, but they seem to have been decent. Yeah,
Bolton is one of their linebackers. 41 tackles and 2 sacks on the season.
Damn.
With 0 forced fumbled, but 0 interceptions as well. So, still doing his fucking job.
Yeah.
And the defensive tackle, Jones, has a forced fumble on the year. and 3 sacks. So they're doing exactly what they need to do on defense and have the offense to match it. Easy A tier for the Chiefs.
Yeah, easy A tier. They're one of the only teams I could confidently say A tier.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. It's the Chiefs just have that special sauce at the moment. And honestly, this is kind of funny. I honestly give it to Alex Smith part of the credit. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, but Alex Smith was basically QB number 1, and he was explaining stuff to a very early Patrick Mahomes, who ended up flourishing, which is Alex Smith's specialty. Because Alex Smith also basically started the Kaepernick era in Santa Clara / San Francisco.
He's a good mentor.
He's a great mentor to have, and he understands this fucking game. So
that
I think
is what you need to have for your quarterback. Not everyone is going to be a Josh Allen. They're not going to suddenly blossom in 3 years. That's what I'm sorry, Sal. That's what the 49ers don't get.
Yeah.
That's what some teams, like, I feel, the Chicago really doesn't get, I think.
Yeah. Because the thing is, you need that person to kind of develop that young talent. And Trey Lance kind of got it, but it's Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm a Niners fan. I'm going to get into that in a bit. But next to talk about, we have Las Vegas Raiders. I hate saying that phrase in the beginning.
Josh McDaniels is a bad head coach. Who would have guessed it? I did not see you coming.
We've been knowing for years by now.
After the absolute hell that was last year, they just fucking plummeted. And that's after playing for Devontae Adams.
And the thing is, the thing that pisses me off the most is last year they were so much better.
Yeah.
On an interim head coach, off of massive controversy that ripped the team to shreds. They lost 1 game that they should have won. And then they basically lived up to expectations. They did well. That coach did a great job for them. Even though they lost to Cincinnati, they made it a fucking game against the future Super Bowl runner-up.
Yeah.
They made that a game.
Rich Bisaccia should be the head coach right now.
Yes, I 100% agree. And the problem is they wanted a more established talent, and then they got Josh. They got who they got.
They got the ruiner of Denver.
Yeah, they got the person who caused Denver to go into the downward spiral that they're in right now. And I get that head coaching prospects were few and far between. But fucking hell.
You had one right in front of you still.
Yeah. And the thing is, looking at their wins and losses, like...
Ezra, thank you for the sub!
Looking at their wins and losses, they're losing against teams they should be beating.
Yeah.
They lost against the Cardinals 29-23.
That's a game they really should have won, too.
They really should have. I'm gonna say not F tier. I think the Raiders still can keep shit competitive. That Chiefs game is fucking example.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say C tier, but barely C tier. C tier on the cusp of D.
There. Yeah, I don't know what I just said, but it was definitely not what I meant to say.
Okay.
Low C tier.
Low C tier. Because they're still keeping shit competitive, but it's just coaching inefficiencies that are causing a majority of their issues. And Devontae Adams is justifiably, in my opinion, upset about it. Because David Carr's a good quarterback. He's not a great. And the team knows this. And last year, they kind of worked that into their strength.
Yeah.
Of basically giving Carr a really good offensive scheme that fucking worked for him.
They got Josh Jacobs as well.
Yeah. They really made that scheme work for Carr last year, and now this year it feels like they're trying to be flashier, and it's not working because that's not who Carr is. Carr is not a Mahomes. Carr cannot thread a needle pass in between two defenders. That's not Carr. Carr cannot basically lob shit down the field and hope the receivers are there. That's not Carr.
As I literally just said, not everyone's a Josh Allen. Not everyone's a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. They're trying too hard to be a better team, and that is working to their detriment. I honestly think if
Josh
they
Daniel out of there.
Yes, I do. 100%. Bring back the other coach. Bring back that interim coach. I think he understood Carr's strengths and weaknesses and played to them.
Yeah. Which
is hard to say in this league because, frankly, a lot of quarterbacks have overinflated egos. I will say that. Some are justifiably, like I'm the man. Some are not. Rodgers. But...
Fuck you, Rodgers!
Fuck you, Rodgers. But
I shall enjoy watching your entire team burn.
Yes. I hope your bacon burns. But the Raiders aren't that. Even if Carr thinks he is, they're not that. They don't have a good reason for an overinflated ego in trying to go overly flashy with quarterback play. That's not who the Raiders are.
In case you have any idea how absolutely fucked this season is, look at the amount of teams in C and lower, and then look at the amount in B and higher.
I think we're going to have more teams up in the top tier once we get lower in the list.
Yeah.
But as of now, like, a lot of these teams are basically the epitome of mid, like the Giants, have elements that are working really hard but are hampered by other elements not working at all, like Detroit, or just have basically players they are treating like secondaries, even though they should be the primaries, like the Browns.
Yep.
And it's hard to see, like, teams, because usually during this part of the season, you see which teams are the exceptionals and which teams are going to be, the basement dwellers. But you see flashes of brilliance from the rest. We're not really seeing that this season. We're seeing failings on parts of the ball or just, like, regression into a bad form. Because I think we're about halfway through at this point of the list. It's just hard to watch some of these teams that used to be fucking incredible. Like, okay, Green Bay, incredible team last season. Baltimore, arguably playoff contender who barely missed. And only because of an injury. Yeah, and only because of injury bug. Arizona, who at the beginning of last season was looking like the Super Bowl favorite for the NFC.
Even though we haven't gotten to them yet, Rams
as well. Yeah, we'll get to them very soon. The Indianapolis Colts, who basically were one game away from the playoffs last season.
Yep.
And Atlanta, who honestly should be better.
They really should be.
They show that they have competency, they just don't finish. This was true of last season as well.
It's been true for a long time.
It has been. Even their Super Bowl. I wanted the Falcons to win so badly. They deserved it. They deserved it for that season. They were so fucking good that season.
They should have. They really should have.
And the Tom Brady was just Tom Brady.
Yep.
Okay. The Spanos. The Los Angeles Chargers.
They are one head coach away from being a really good team.
Yes. Because, again, this team is winning games. Okay, I can't even say that. I just realized who they lost to in week 3. I just realized who they lost to in week 3. I can't say that.
Yeah. Their entire downfall is the fact that their head coach is like, ooh, look, this is what the mathematics says.
Oh,
and not what's
they're playing
actually on the
Moneyball.
field.
They're playing Moneyball in a league that doesn't do well with Moneyball.
This is why it feels like the coaches are gambling and the NFL just hasn't caught them yet.
Yeah. And against that Jaguars team, they realized the return.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the Chargers are getting wins against opponents in that D tier, but then losing to an opponent which we have basically said is not even a team. And
yeah.
It's hard to pin down what the fuck the Chargers are. Because their quarterback is not terrible. He's not great. He's not terrible, though. The receiving core has
dang good.
Competent enough players, but not great players. Their biggest is Mike Williams at 392 yards off of 28 receptions. And a 14 average.
You got all these stats up. I'm just here talking out of my mouth.
I know. I literally have the NFL app open so I can remember the alphabetical order, and then I'm just basically looking up stats to try and figure out how I want to formulate my points.
That's very fair.
Because, like, this is a team of good but not greats, but then they're losing to teams that have nothing. And keeping it close against the Texans, only winning by 10?
Oh, like challenging fate against the Browns.
Yeah. 30-28. They only won that game by 2.
They only won because of a missed field goal.
Mm-hmm.
At the very end, and I feel it should have been a made field goal.
Yeah, it should have been.
It's
I don't know what to feel about this
insane.
team. I want to say C tier because that kind of makes sense, but
at the very least, I could see them getting like a low wild card spot, but they're going to be an early.
I mean, that would technically put
lead.
them in B tier, but
I don't want to.
I don't want to put them in B tier.
Then
Tentative C tier. They could be B tier. I just don't know how to feel about this team.
they're like a B plus, not
Yeah.
B plus, C plus.
They're a C plus. Like, wildcard exit is probably going to be their season. But what do you do from here, really, other than change head coach?
If they're like, they should have been in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
If you ask me,
Okay,
yeah.
in the Raiders. Instead, we got to watch freaking Ben Roethlisberger walk out into the field and
Shit himself.
yeah. Hey, I'm just an old guy. Y'all fuckers hate me. I don't care. I'm gonna go ahead and have a retirement now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least he retired on a playoff game, but fuck Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, fuck Ben Roethlisberger.
The Chargers just, I don't know what the fuck their team is. And it causes me physical pain. The Rams, I know exactly who they are. They are frauds.
They are. They are. They bought their way to a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's time to pay the piper.
It's time to pay the fucking piper. You've lost a majority of the good parts of your defense. And the parts of your offense that were good are now showing their old form.
You wanted your ring. You got your ring. Now you gotta pay up.
Yep. And boy, howdy, are they fucking paying for it.
Week 1 was just a
because the thing is, week 1, 31-10 loss against the Bills, crushing defeat. But the Bills were basically a team where last year I thought they were going to have their Super Bowl run. In all honesty, I thought that was their year. It might be this year now. Then they win against the Falcons and the Cardinals, which are games they should win. Because how the fuck do you lose them? And then they lose to the 49ers again, which also makes sense. because they haven't been able to beat the 49ers in God knows how many fucking years. But then they lose to the Cowboys.
And that's when you start asking questions.
That's when you start asking questions. And the thing about their 49ers loss is usually that's a slugfest. Usually that's those games I fucking love where basically now Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo are basically just trading touchdowns.
You want to know what I think is very indicative of how they are this year? Last week, or against the Panthers, how slow they got out to start.
Yeah, they were very slow to start and weren't really running shit until the last half. And basically, I was reading through an analyst report, and they said, and I quote, "The Rams have found an offensive scheme."
They have not.
They have not, in my opinion. I don't agree with the analyst.
They adjusted. That's it.
They adjusted, yeah. Which, you know, good
They
teams
shouldn't
do adjust for their competition.
But they should have been out in the lead in the first place.
No, against
They're
the Panthers, no less.
They're
team that isn't a team.
Super Bowl champs.
Yeah. And the thing is, their Niners loss was absolutely disastrous. Only 9 points against a San Francisco that we'll get into. I don't think they should have been that low against that San Francisco squad.
Yeah.
I'm going to say tentative B tier, but barely B tier.
I want to say C.
You want to say C? Let's hear your argument for it.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. They've only played one game in the division so far, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they've played two. They won against the Cardinals, lost against the Niners.
I'm more so just... There's just... It doesn't feel like they have the vibe of a playoff team right now. It feels like they... It feels like because they lost Odell, because they lost Vaughn, because their O-line is completely shattered.
Yeah. Their O-line is not the same, because in that Super Bowl, Cincy couldn't fucking break that O-line.
They're 3-3, and they're a husk of what they used to be.
I wanted to put them in B only because I think they might be one of those sneak-ins in the playoffs.
I'm gonna completely say, hey, you want to know who I expect to be in the playoffs from that division? 49ers and Seahawks.
Okay, that I can also see, and we'll get to talk about them in a bit. The Rams should be that sneak pick. They should be that team that makes it in. Maybe doesn't win their games in convincing fashion, but makes it in.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I kind of have to agree. C tier. Okay.
I am happy about it because like they bought talent, and this is proof that isn't sustainable.
It isn't sustainable.
You got to do what New England basically did all the time. You got to do except for that one year. Except for that one year, they lost to the Giants.
Yeah. But to be fair to them as well, like that was a damn good Giants team.
Yeah.
But basically, Patriots just kind of found diamonds in the rough and made them into stars.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Rams basically bought their way through talent and didn't keep them in form. They tried to do the same shit. Yeah, they tried to do with 76ers.
And it technically succeeded, if you want to count them plummeting off into the abyss afterwards. Success.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they got their ring in Los Angeles. I'm happy for them.
It should have happened in St. Louis.
It should have happened in St. Louis. And also, I severely think that if it weren't for that dropped fumble, the 49ers would have been in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm still pissed about that. It was literally one play that caused the collapse of the 49ers in that championship game and led to the Rams getting their Super Bowl chance.
Even worse, I'm pretty sure that's the moment I tuned into that game too. Like, oh,
Probably.
what's going on in the championship? Because Bills were already out at that point. I didn't care. Oh, what's going on right now? How is it? Oh no.
Yeah.
That's a no.
We'll get into the 49ers and how I feel about them at the moment. But first, we have to talk about the Dolphins. The Dolphins, honestly, at the beginning of this year, I was ready to call them Super Bowl ready. I was so fucking ready for this team to be good again.
This is their comeuppance.
This is their comeuppance.
For everything that happened.
Yes.
Their head coach should not be who it is now.
Their head coach should be tarred and feathered.
Yeah.
Oh my God. First off, we have to get into this if we're talking Miami. Fuck Miami for putting Tua Tagovailoa out again.
Yeah.
Fuck you for doing that. I don't care if you thought it was a back injury. You should have sat him. If it obviously was disoriented, he obviously was injured. And you fucking throw him back on the field 4 days later.
How the hell did that not happen in the game that he originally got a concussion in? Because I feel like that only just makes it all worse.
Yeah, and he was...
Because you allow people to just think like, this doesn't look normal.
Yeah,
this doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't, because it isn't. That's not safe for any of the players. And honestly, if I were a Miami player, I'd be getting my own independent doctors. I would not trust that fucking team doctor at all. How fucking dare you just declare it a back injury when obviously there is something up with his head? He was wobbling off the fucking field, and you put him back into the game 4 days later to get a second concussion and basically be in fencing position with permanent brain damage being a likely outcome. How fucking dare you? I am pissed at the Miami organization.
I am there.
And I get that Tua Tagovailoa is your key. It is obvious in your last 3 games.
Which is exactly why you protect him and let him sit a game out. You beat the person that was the leader of the division for the last 2 years. Your quarterback just got a concussion. Sit him out, allow Teddy Bridgewater to take it over for a game, show that he can maybe do something, and then...
And even in that game 3, they ended up beating the Bills with Teddy Bridgewater in for most of the game. Like, this is a good team. This is a team that works. But letting your quarterback get injured like that has caused fear in the other players now. They're being a lot more safer, and honestly, I think that's to the detriment of the team. They're not taking risks. They're not getting those harder tackles. They're terrified that the team's just going to leave them out to dry if they get injured.
You want to know what the Dolphins are? They're the epitome of Florida. They are what Florida is seen as in all the memes. They are exactly what people picture. Idiots making stupid mistakes constantly, again and again. They have been doing this for fucking ever.
I know.
And it all got revealed this offseason. When they fired a bad head coach, it was revealed that they were tampering and trying to get Tom Brady via tampering or something like that.
Yeah.
And everything.
They basically tried to Eddie Guerrero their way into a better team, when in all honesty, the Dolphins are a good team. I would easily argue B tier, and it pisses me off that they're that good, because fuck this team.
Yeah. Also, hey Jay-Z, how you doing?
Hello. Sorry, I'm upset at the Miami Dolphins. I want to say B tier. I think they are the good enough team to at least make it into the playoffs. I am also extremely upset with their decision making.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Yeah.
They're probably still going to make the playoffs.
They're probably still going to be in.
It would be so fucking cathartic if the Jets somehow got in. Instead of them, like, imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be the ultimate fuck you.
That would be the ultimate fuck you. And honestly, we'll get to it when we talk about the Jets. But that might be less of a pipe dream than you think.
Yeah.
At this point. But final thoughts on Miami. This team is a good team. They have great elements on both sides of the ball. It's just now the players are playing scared. And it shows in the hesitation. It shows in the trepidation to make those big plays and put people at risk.
This isn't why you brought Tyreek Hill in.
Yeah, this is not why you brought Tyreek Hill in. Tyreek Hill thrives in environments of risk, where basically he's double covered but can still catch the ball. Tyreek Hill thrives in the back with the Chiefs in environments where he should not have succeeded. Taking high risk, taking, those passes that should not be caught.
There's going to be near zero risk after what happened.
Yeah, and I think they can still sneak in because they have that talent on both sides of the ball. But this team is not the same team in weeks 1 through 3.
Yeah.
I saw a clear change in the team dynamic at that Bengals game.
I would not, if Tua called it after the season or just like some point during the season, I would not be surprised.
I would not either. I'm honestly more concerned that he's going to have permanent brain damage. 100%.
Yeah.
2 concussions in the span of a week is not good. Like that's not good at all.
That really isn't. Yeah.
I also, there was that insulting fucking tweet about him laughing at McGruber on the plane ride home. Fuck you, whoever wrote that tweet.
Who cares?
Because who cares? That man could be permanently disabled for life because of those hits that he took. You don't make light of that.
You don't.
And that's not a sign that he's okay, he's fine. And Tua's apparently supposed to start for this Steelers game coming up. And I hope to God that O-line defends him with their lives.
I really hope so.
I hope that O-line plays out of their goddamn mind, because if Tua even gets touched, I'm afraid of what's going to happen. I don't want to see him on the field.
Next week is what time is that game? Is that an early game?
5:20 Pacific. So for you, it's probably 9 o'clock.
9 a.m.
PM.
Okay. Good.
I want to watch with trepidation.
I don't.
But
I don't.
I'm just so scared for Tua.
Yeah.
Because they should not be bringing him out again this early. I know it's only been 2 games since he's technically been out, but with what happened, I think he should be out for the season.
The correct thing to happen is like what happened with Dane Jackson when he had his scary injury earlier this year in week 2.
Yeah. You have to protect your players, or your players are going to notice.
Yeah.
And they've noticed that they basically dragged Tua onto a field that he should not have been on. And they're playing scared.
They do not see them as the names on their jerseys. They see them as the numbers.
Yeah. That's actually a great point. And there was, around the time Tua went out with the second concussion, there was an interview with Mike Tomlin. I have my own personal gripes with Mike Tomlin as a coach. But he basically had one of his star players stay off of their fucking squad because of a horrendous injury. And he said in an interview with that player, I cared more about your health than I did about my team. And that should be the attitude. Why was that not the attitude? For the Miami Dolphins, shameful is what that organization is. But I'm going to put them reluctantly in B tier.
and I accept that. I personally am going to put them in D. I would personally put them in D tier just out of spite, but yeah.
I know. I'm solely going off of the team. But the front office causes me pain. Okay, Vikings. Let's get off of this rant.
Boy, oh boy, Vikings. How do I feel about you today? Better question. How do you feel today? Do you want to play up to your level of talent, or do you want to nearly lose a game to the goddamn Bears?
Yeah. The thing, though, is this is a Vikings team who has seen an absolute massive reinsurgence in talent.
Yeah.
Like, the only game... The thing is, I think they should be 6-0. They had to fight... They did not fight hard enough in that fucking Eagles game. Week 2. But every other game, they are winning against teams they absolutely should be winning against, and in convincing fashion.
I feel very damn happy because this is proof that it was coaching that was the problem last year.
Because
it's been coaching that was the problem the last few years.
Yeah. No, they have the fucking talent of those individuals on that team. It was just coaching mistakes. It was calling schemes they knew that wouldn't work. It was trying trick plays in moments that they really should not have been trying anything unstandard.
Yep.
And it was all up to coaching, and it shows. Because this Minnesota squad has talent out the ass that they are showing well. Oh, my phone is very low on health. Holy crap, I think I might need to plug it in. I just saw it. It's at 4%. Holy shit. Yeah, my phone is screaming at me. Oh, and it's hot as hell. Holy shit. Ow.
You good?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Back to the conversation. Minnesota is finally playing up to their fucking potential. And I love to see it. It's wonderful because this team has been a team where I have literally looked at them and gone, this team should be vying for Super Bowls. And I think finally they're there. It's clicked. They got the right people.
They got an opportunity ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
At the they're an A team, I think.
I would even argue S.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would argue for S tier. This team is finally doing the things they need to with extremely talented individuals. That is literal definition of possible Super Bowl.
You know what? Bring it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put Vikings in S tier. So far
between them and there's only two teams from... If there's only two teams I could choose from the NFC, I guess, to put up there, it's that and one other team that I very much expect to be in the conference championship.
Yeah. Very much so. Because the thing is, I think they could beat Mahomes at this point. I truly do. So I was trepidatious about putting them in A.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see that too. Please tell me that's a game on the schedule. Okay, I'm going to look. No, but they're playing Bills week 10. Oh, in New York, week 16.
Ooh,
that's going to be a fun one.
That will be fun.
I look.
To say
they're
that
playing both New York teams, week 13 and 16.
Yeah,
I'm going to argue Vikings S tier.
Possible Super Bowl whole matchup coming up later this schedule.
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to talk about the Patriots.
Why do you keep finding these guys? Why? I want you to die.
I want them to die too. It makes me feel good, but the problem is, all I can say about this team is, what is this team?
They're a team that somehow finds a way to win, and I completely expect to bow out early.
Yeah.
But holy crap. As much as I hate to say it, bravo to Belichick for doing what he's done.
Yeah. even though they're fourth in the AFC East at the moment, and that talks a lot on the AFC East at the moment.
Yeah.
They are an extremely competitive fucking division right now. They basically have, and I'm going to say this might be a take. They have basically replaced the NFC West as the scary division, in my opinion.
I can totally see that.
Because back for the past like 4 years, the NFC West was the scary division. It was the teams you did not want to face. If you were even a mid team. Because the Seahawks will run the ball down your throat. The 49ers had amazing pass plays that no one seemed to figure out. The Arizona Cardinals had an amazing aerial attack combined with a very staunch defense. And the Rams just had talent out the wazoo. Even before Stafford, even before Beckham. Like, they had homegrown talent who was impressive as all hell to watch.
Aaron goddamn Donald.
Aaron goddamn Donald, exactly. One of the people I would also compete with for, like, defensive lineman of the year.
Yeah.
Especially last season. Holy shit, last season. San Francisco's O-line is not anything to sneeze at, and Donald just knew his way through it.
It feels good seeing the entire division that I grew up in actually be good, instead of it just being the Patriots and maybe once in a while the Jets or the Dolphins.
Yeah. And the Jets was usually based off the defense, but we'll get into that in a little bit. New England, though, has just found diamonds in the rough again. Bill Belichick is doing the thing he did with Tom Brady once again.
I expected them to be rougher on defense since, they lost some of their good starters there, like J.C. Jackson, but they fine guys.
Yeah. And honestly, the only questionable loss they had is against Green Bay, but that was a close fucking game.
And that was with a third string.
Yeah, that was with a third string, which never fucking happens in this league.
Yeah.
Usually third strings are gimme games. He made that competitive.
It goes to show how good Belichick is, except for his wide receivers, how good he is with his talent picking.
Yeah. And honestly, I think even the receiver core is not going to be an issue next year.
Yeah.
I think one more year in that receiving core completely changes.
Because his entire thing that I've noticed, and I kind of, as much as I hate to say it, I kind of love it. His entire thing is maybe they're not from a big school, but they're a damn good player in their school.
Yes. And when you hear people, when they're doing those player introductions at the beginning of games, coming from community colleges and high schools.
Sports ball!
Yeah. And pretty much, like, you hear about players who never even made it to the college game getting drafted. It shows how Bill Belichick has that eye for talent. And he's never lost it. It's just last year was just a tad bit disappointing due to a couple different factors. And the year before, they were kind of still suffering from the loss of Brady.
Cam Newton did not do them anything.
Cam Newton did not do them a fucking favor at all. And honestly, after that Super Bowl 50 game, I'm shocked that anyone wanted to give him a shot.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, crucial moment in the game, he drops the ball, and instead of like rushing to go get it again to at least take a loss of yards but still have it, he lets the Broncos take it because he's throwing a tantrum. So I'm shocked anyone gave Cam Newton a second chance.
I remember that.
Yep.
I remember that.
Funny thing, I actually went to the stadium that day. We drove over there, parked in a different lot, and then just went to go check out the festivities because I'm not paying those fucking prices.
That is completely fair.
And honestly, it was electric. That crowd. But when Cam Newton dropped the pass, you could hear every Panthers fan go, "Oh!"
Yep. It's God.
Yeah, but Patriots are now in a much better position than they were back then. They are not regretting the loss of Brady. They have found people who work well with Mac Jones' talent. Because Mac Jones has talent.
Yeah.
They figured it out. And that's just on Belichick for having that eye, having that ability to find diamonds in the rough. I'm going to say A tier. Possibly B tier, but A tier.
I was going to say the same thing. It's either A or B.
Yeah, I'm going to tentatively put them in A. I think they have the opportunity to make a deep run this year.
It says a lot, especially considering what people thought they might be when Tom Brady left.
They had two Patriots for some reason. I just put them both in A tier on this list.
Oh no, there's two of them.
And one of them is just blown up to hell, so it's only like the back end of the Patriots logo. Yeah, sports ball, exactly.
Yeah. So now we got to talk about which one, New Orleans or New York?
New Orleans.
Okay.
New Orleans at the beginning of the team is not the team it is now. So I'm barely going to talk about the beginning of this season because it was rough. Losses against the Bucks and the Panthers, a win against the Falcons, which they should have. But now it's kind of like even in their losses, they are showing good, like they're showing good qualities. They're just not finishing.
That's a great way of saying it. They had a chance this Sunday against Cincinnati, and they couldn't do it.
Yep, 26-30, literally a touchdown, and one more touchdown, they would have had it, but they couldn't do it. Their win against the Seahawks by 7, they won it by a touchdown.
You want to know the even crazier thing about that Cincinnati game? That was with significant injuries to their offense.
Yeah.
That they kept that close.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think it's from the reinsurgence of Taysom Hill. Because
it's
Taysom Hill. It's purely Taysom Hill, who I would honestly say is the best rushing quarterback. As blasphemous as that is to say. Because
words to say in Bills fan range.
Of course.
But I completely understand. I don't really see him as a QB. I see him as
he's kind of that Debo role in a way, but it's weird because he's also quarterback. It's so fucking weird. I don't even know what you can call Taysom Hill in a scheme. Yeah, a switchback maybe. Because he has the arm talent to lob it. He has the running skills of an RB. And when they've done RP options with him, he's caught balls pretty convincingly.
Isn't also after like a Liz Frank injury or something like that as well?
Yeah, after a pretty debilitating fucking injury last season.
Which, holy crap.
Yeah, literally Taysom Hill is probably the difference maker on the Saints right now. It's just, even with that talent, even with that ability, they can't finish. And that's extremely important in this league. And I'll get into that for a different team later. But for now, the Saints just cannot finish games. And therefore, I want to put them in D plus tier in a way, but D.
I don't know where to. I could see them like anywhere between B or D, just because they could be that sneak-in team if they can figure out how to close off games.
Yeah, if they can figure out how to close off games, they're easy B tier.
Yeah,
but the fact that they can't, and even the games that they can are still like one-score games, basically to tie, or even to win. I feel trepidatious about even putting them in C, because the C teams can at least finish games for the most part. Green Bay's questionable, but for the most part, these teams can finish the games they should win. And I'm sorry, you should have won some of those games.
They should have. They should have won the one against the Vikings.
They should have won the Vikings game. They should have won the Bengals game. And they should have won against the Panthers. Come the fuck on.
You could make an argument for them winning against any of those teams that they lost against.
Yeah. I can make an argument for why they should have won the game. It's just they don't have clutch, which is essential. Literally essential to this league. Okay. Next team on our list, the Giants. Holy shit, did anyone expect this?
No, but I am pleasantly surprised.
I'm happy in a good way that the Giants are finally succeeding.
I'm happy, and for two different reasons. One, it's proof that Brian Daboll is actually a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
After so many Bills people kept on ragging on him for his decision making back in Buffalo. And the other thing, it's a proof to how much coaching was the only or the big problem, even excluding having Daniel Jones as quarterback. It's a clear show of how much coaching alone was the problem that the team had.
Yeah. Because the thing is, Saquon is a fucking beast. No one can deny that. Even last season, Saquon was a fucking beast. But it was just bad coaching decisions, bad practices, bad training of multiple different parts of the team.
It all culminated in a QB sneak on 3-9.
Yeah, which I don't care how good your quarterback is. He's not getting a QB sneak at 3-9. Teams can smell that from a fucking mile away. And if you're 3-1, go for it. If you're 3-9, trust that pass option. But they couldn't. And now they can. Now they can finally trust the elements of the team that they should be trusting. And their losses are against the Jets team we're going to talk about next. And the Cowboys, who are in our B tier.
Wait, they've played against the Jets this year?
Wait, no, that was preseason. My bad.
Their only loss, I think, so far is to the Cowboys.
Their only loss is to the Cowboys.
5-1.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say somehow. Somehow basically would imply that they win through bullshit.
That is, yeah.
Honestly, even though some of the wins are sloppy, I think that's basically just them having their little growing pains of finally being a good team and realizing that they're a good team.
My thought is, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they could actually, if it's somehow possible to mold Daniel Jones into something that's could be considered a starting QB, which he's kind of starting to show, I think, that he can be.
Yeah, he can be. He is showing the talent that he had back in college. Because Daniel Jones was actually a really damn good college quarterback. The problem is, I think the Giants organization, that he went into could not give him the same talent and ability to kind of, dictate play that he got in college.
He didn't have a good tutor as well, no. I think, at that point.
I think QB before him was Eli, if I'm not mistaken.
It was indeed Eli.
Eli is an okay quarterback. I don't think he's a good mentor.
A third, okay.
Hee.
Oh boy.
I want to argue New York A tier. Even though they lost to the Cowboys. What you were saying?
I don't know if I definitely see them making the playoffs. That is very much clear. I just don't know if they are in if they make the playoffs, that is a hell of an achievement considering where they've been.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. If they're going to be able to make a significant run, especially since it's going to be most of these guys' first time in that sort of situation.
And there's, the first time you have that nerve in any playoff game, even if it's a wild card, you have that nerve of, oh my God, I've done the thing I've been trying to do for years.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm going to concede B tier. I think they're going to make it into the playoffs. If they make a deep run, is to be seen. I think they could have the potential to do it. It's just to be seen about when they get into that playoff environment.
If Daniel Jones continues to improve, then...
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought. All right. Now we talk about the Jets. Again, I'm going to say it. Who the fuck expected that this year?
I'm going to be...
The East Rutherford, New Jersey teams that play in the same stadium are both good.
It's crazy, but at the same time, I love it.
I do too.
I fucking love this turn of the guard.
Finally. Fucking finally. I knew Robert Saleh's talents in San Francisco. I saw what he did to that defense. Holy shit, did he transform San Francisco. He basically turned one of the worst defenses into one of the best in the span of a year. It's not even close.
He won a game with Joe Flacco.
Exactly.
That alone speaks to it. He won a game with Joe Flacco. He showed that his entire team this last week could beat a team on all three sides of the ball.
Yeah. And the thing is, the teams he lost to are early in the season, which is kind of the growing portion, and B, against teams arguably that are playoff contenders in Baltimore and Baltimore and the Bengals.
It says a lot for what they've managed to do.
Yeah, Robert Saleh has finally figured out that defense again, and it's doing wonders for them.
I am so happy for that team.
Like, the thing is, if you look at the opposing totals, I am so happy for them as well. They have been through suffering for so fucking long. Against Green Bay only scores 10 points. Against the Dolphins only score 17. Against the Steelers, although it was a close game, they only got 20.
Yeah. And I think even with like what happened the week beforehand, I think the even bigger part of the Dolphins win that means a lot to me is that it wasn't just like a 20 points or something like that. It was a 40.
Yeah.
They didn't just go out there and show that they have the talent. They dissected that defense.
They did. They ran a clinic through that defense. And who the fuck could have guessed that the Jets, of all teams, after last season basically being bottom of the barrel, basement level of play, a joke in this league, could come back to relevance in the span of a year?
I don't know how true this is going to sound. This doesn't just apply to the Jets, but I think a lot of teams that are doing good right now, have historically done good. It's just that I'm noticing. It feels like defensive coordinators, with exceptions obviously, are far more adept at switching to becoming a head coach more often than offensive coordinators.
There are some exceptions I can think of off memory, but yeah, Robert Saleh has that brain. He has the head coach brain, and he's finally getting to prove it.
Robert Saleh, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Robert Saleh, Bill Belichick.
Sean McDermott.
Yeah, oh my God, I almost forgot that he was a DC. But yeah, Robert Saleh has finally gotten a team with talent, and it shows. Because before, he inherited a Jets organization that was basically Pee Wee Herman's School of Football. It was a comedic joke of a franchise.
It had just been subjected to Adam Gase.
Yeah, and basically, in the span of 3 years, he has changed it from the joke of the NFL, where everyone was talking shit about Robert Saleh. Everyone was talking shit about him. Saying that, oh, he basically inherited a dead franchise and he's not doing shit. He's proven he knows exactly what the fuck he's doing. He just needed the talent. And he's gotten it now.
Now, New Jersey, I say this to you because we've seen this happen before, I think. Don't make the mistake of letting them off early. Like, don't get rid of Wilson early. Don't get rid of Saleh early just because they may not make it this year.
I want to argue
they can go places.
They can. I want to say B tier for the same reason we said about the Giants earlier, is that this is their first sniff of success in a long time, and I don't know how I feel about them making deep runs like the Patriots and the Chiefs, who have that kind of swagger, who have that kind of knowledge. But I do see the Jets going far this year.
I would be absolutely ecstatic if they made
it. And also,
and
I so want a New York versus New York game.
Oh, that...
That, to me, would be the funniest thing, and I don't know how they'd lay the field.
The funniest Super Bowl ever.
That would be the funniest Super Bowl ever, if that were to actually happen. They would basically have to have half the field in the Jets, half the field in the Giants.
Yeah. It would be interesting.
It would be so lovely. But yeah, I honestly am impressed with what the New York teams have done this year. They both have found talent or just made the necessary changes that people have been screaming at them for years.
But listening to people helps sometimes.
Yeah, because everyone's been saying the same things about the Jets. The defense is bumbling and the offense, has missteps. They fixed that. For the Giants, they said that the coaching is making stupid, dim-witted decisions, and they fixed that. And then you see the teams who haven't fixed their errors, Green Bay, languishing now.
Yeah.
Basically, people told them Rodgers is too arrogant in his play and basically runs the team, which is not what you should be doing. I don't care if Bill Belichick allowed that to happen with Tom Brady. Tom Brady has the fucking talent to do that. Aaron Rodgers does not.
And I would argue Brady and Belichick were more of a team overall than, say, Rodgers and LaFleur.
LaFleur is basically a puppet head figure on that team.
Yeah.
Rodgers calls all the plays for the offense.
And the worst part is, that there is a decent amount of people probably pointing their fingers more at LaFleur for all this than Rodgers.
And it's not LaFleur's fault. LaFleur has a quarterback who has basically taken over the team. Meanwhile, New York, Daniel Jones listens to that coach, and you can tell.
He's had his humbling experience.
He's had his
pain and suffering.
Yeah. He's gotten his licks and he's come back stronger, which is exactly what you want out of your QB. You want that grit. You want that drive. You want that ability. And Jones fucking has it.
He's like he's coming out of the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
He got beaten down, broken up, and then learned crane kick.
I'm so freaking happy for these two teams.
So fucking happy for both of them.
Now we just need Detroit and Jacksonville to somehow get up here.
Honestly, even if Jacksonville succeeds, I don't know if I'm going to feel good about that.
That's fair.
Because the team is still running like Urban Meyer is still their head coach. And I don't know if they're going to get that stink away from them anytime soon. And Detroit, I want all the success in the world for Detroit. They fucking deserve it.
I think it's in their future. They just need to...
They need to bolster that defense.
Yeah. They're still in the rebuild mode.
Yeah. Very much so. But the offense is finally clicking on the cylinders for them, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
All right. We go from East to Rutherford. to Philadelphia. Again, who could have fucking expected this?
Holy crap.
We're finally getting from the low energy portion that we had earlier, talking about several bad teams, to finally the teams I am actually excited about.
Knicks, like, it's crazy to me just thinking about all the things that led up to the season of last year with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts being the two who at the head of it all.
Yeah.
And seeing where it is now.
Yeah.
This feels like people talk about, like Trey Lance being like Josh Allen 2.0 or something like that. I feel like I'm seeing that more in Jalen Hurts.
I'm seeing that way more in Jalen Hurts.
And it goes to show, don't write someone off.
Exactly. And if anyone wrote off him after last season, they're fucking mistaken.
Yes, they got beat by the Buccaneers badly.
They did. Thank you for the AUG, Shep. Welcome to the stream. We're talking American footy.
Yeah. But that was their first experience. That was growing pains. And the fact that they did that, his first year in charge of the offense, that says a hell of a lot for what Nick Sirianni and that team can do.
Now, note, they did have an easy strength of schedule for a lot of those early games until they fucking went against the Vikings and beat the Vikings, who we have in our S tier.
They decimated them.
They decimated them 24-7.
There's only so much you can blame on primetime Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're getting wins against playoff contenders in our mind.
And they're doing it every single way. They're winning it close. They're winning it by blowout. They're winning ugly.
They're winning
in every way that a Super Bowl contender should.
Yes, exactly. Like, honestly...
Which I guess now that I think about it, is just like the Vikings and just like the Bills.
Literally, it's all the Super Bowl teams this year have finishability.
Yeah.
They have those ways of pulling the wins out of their ass when they need to. And that is extremely important in this league.
They don't just adjust. They come in with a plan.
Yeah.
With a plan for that team. And if that plan doesn't seem to work at the start, they fix that plan.
Yeah, and it doesn't take them a quarter to adjust. It doesn't take them a half to adjust. It takes them a drive.
There's a reason for, like, let's just put them in S tier now.
Yeah, let's just put them in S tier now.
Yeah, they deserve that S tier.
Yes.
One thing we have said for both the other teams in S tier is that they both should be 6-0.
Yeah.
Eagles are the epitome of... Yeah.
And there's some analysts saying that, they're the worst 6-0 team. Fuck right off. No, you are not watching the same game I am watching.
Who is this? Nick Wright?
Probably Nick Wright. I don't remember their names. I just remember there were analysts saying that, this is the worst Blano team. And I'm like, no, you're not watching the same game I am. I am watching Philly come back to the prominence they had when they made that Super Bowl win without the arrogance they had after that Super Bowl win.
They've been humbled.
They realized back then they were no longer the shit and actually had to improve their team.
Yeah.
And they did it. They worked their ass off and they're back in that form. It's astounding to see the changes that the Eagles have made to become that better team again.
Yep. And I could not be happier. I would rather see... even though the Giants are... It's either them or the Giants that I would love to see on top of that division. And I'm pretty damn certain, even if Dak comes back, that it's going to be Philadelphia on top.
Oh, 100%. And Dak's not going to come back healthy. Guarantee Dak is not going to come back healthy. They're going to rush him onto the field early because Dak is the fan base's baby. Their golden child of the Cowboys.
God.
I've been saying this about a lot of things, I think, recently. Cowboys fans are just in a giant parasocial... Not Giants, Cowboys fans are in a giant parasocial relationship. They are the part of the UK of football.
Yeah. The problem also with the Cowboys fans is a lot of them are very casual observers. So even if this team has those deep-rooted problems, they probably don't recognize them or see what is causing them.
America's team, yeah, probably their ass.
Yeah. But back to the Eagles, man, it's so lovely to see this team start succeeding on every side of the ball.
Yeah.
Their receiving has become way more consistent. Their rushing has become a lot more deadly. Their defense has been a lot more stout and stands up to pressure from teams that will give them pressure. I could not have guessed this last year from this team, even though they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like,
but I guess that goes to show, just because a schedule is soft doesn't mean it can't show future.
Yeah. And they have a bye week this week. But their next games are probably going to be the biggest tell, and I don't see them faltering.
Who's that? Just curious.
Let me see, because the NFL app fucking crashed on me.
Of course it did.
Fuck it, I'll pull up the website.
Your regularly scheduled tier list will be right back.
Your regularly scheduled tier list will be returning shortly once Sally gets past the technical difficulties. The tier list will be returning shortly. Their next...
What? Dang, I didn't know Discord had hold songs.
It did. Oh, okay, oh, fuck.
What?
Pittsburgh, Houston, Commanders, Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants.
The two biggest challenges are the goddamn Giants, I think.
Yep. Yep, literally. Literally, that is their two challenge teams. And it's the same fucking team.
Yeah.
Oh, the Eagles are going to have a fun year.
Yeah,
if they're not number, honestly,
crap.
I would put them in S+ as possible number one team.
Yeah,
I can honestly see it this season.
You know, like, yes, it's going to be twice. Holy crap! The absolute running attack that's going to be those two games against the Giants. Mm-hmm. That is going to be fun as hell to watch.
It is going to be absolutely incredible to watch.
Wait, what is this? Am I actually excited for an NFC East game?
Right? What the fuck? That never happens.
What is this?
That's why I said NFC East has become the scary division. And it's honestly lovely to see. Now
it was fun.
Yeah. What?
It was fun making fun of them for a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Now they're the scary team that has replaced the NFC West.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to talk about Pittsburgh. We're back down.
Oh, boy. Tomlin, I hope you're ready for your first losing season.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming. You should have had it back in, like, 2019. You should have had it last year. You should have had it a year before that as well.
You should have had it for the past 3 years, but it's finally time. Ben Roethlisberger cannot quarterback you out of the situation anymore. And you know what's bad? When their number one is Mitch Trubisky.
Yep. It's...
The quarterback that got ran out of Chicago for how shit he was is now the best quarterback for the Steelers.
They saw I guarantee you, they saw the minimal amount of time he got while in Buffalo, and was like, hey, he seems much improved now.
And the loss of Juju is obviously hurting them. The loss of Antonio Brown a couple years back also hurt them massively, even though I could probably do an entire stream ranting about fucking Antonio Brown.
Yep. That's a Drama's channel worth of just free shit right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am at a Drama channel.
No. And sorry, my other browser crashed and I need to fix it. So your regularly scheduled shit will be coming back shortly. Hold on. There we go.
Okay.
Pittsburgh just has collapsed. There's no other way to put it. They've collapsed. Their arrogance has finally led them to the collapse we have been predicting for the past 3 years.
TJ Watt's gone, and their defense is suddenly significantly worse.
Mm-hmm. I just realized we didn't even talk about the Bosas, like the Bosa in fucking Chargers as well. So like, they're not even fucking a conversation piece.
It says a lot.
It says a lot. It's just an overall collapse. And they're 2-4. Their 2 wins are against the Bucks and the Bengals week 1.
That hell of a game.
But they had an embarrassing loss against Cleveland. They had a close loss against the Patriots.
And the Jets.
Not even close to the Bills.
Yeah.
They got a field goal, and honestly, they're lucky for that.
We got our revenge for week 1 of last year.
Yep.
Of course, the first ever football game I get to see, and it's that one.
Of course. And the thing is about the Bucks game, they barely beat the Bucks. They beat them by 2.
Yeah.
18-20 was the final score.
Congrats, Tomlin. You finally beat Brady.
You finally beat Belichick. It wasn't in convincing fashion. Or Brady, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't beat Belichick. Belichick tore them.
Belichick beat them.
Yeah. You finally beat Brady, but we're probably going to talk about that in a little bit. I want to put them in D tier, though.
I'm going to say D tier.
I don't think they're as horrendous as the teams we have put in F tier.
They got their future in Pickett, and they also have Pickens.
Yeah.
Who is an absolute... Every single catch that kid makes, I swear.
It is
I say that like he isn't around the same age as me.
Yeah. It is impressive every single time the catch that kid makes. But one person does not make a team.
Yeah.
And Mitch Trubisky is not that guy. He's not that guy, bud.
They still don't have the line.
They don't have an O-line that can block. The rest of the
Najee Harris.
Yeah, the rest of the receiving core, they're there. They're not present though, and their defense is like laughable with the mistakes they will make.
I wonder how. Are they going to try and rebuild, or are they going to continue to act like nothing's wrong?
I think it's going to be one more year of acting like it's nothing wrong, unless this is like a horrendous season. Like if they go just barely under 500, I think they're going to continue with the arrogance. I think if they get below maybe a 0.2, then they might have the conversation of having a rebuild. But I think it's that dire straits in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
With the arrogance and egotistical, like, play that they've been going through recently.
And here's the thing. If they're going to do a rebuild, even though they probably won't, it has to start a head coach.
It does. And I love Tomlin to death because of his attitude for the players. But
it's also a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword. He cares about his players. He obviously is a well-liked person in Pittsburgh. But the man doesn't have it anymore.
He allowed those horrible personalities to fester. And
he
Antonio
allowed
Brown
the Juju Smiths.
and Le'Veon Bell.
He allowed the Le'Veon Bells. He allowed the Antonio Browns. He allowed that toxic culture to fester within the team, and it has not left.
If you're gonna clean the culture, you gotta stop at the one in charge of it all.
Yeah.
And in this case, that's Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
He has way too much saying power.
Yeah.
As strange as it is to say about a head coach, I guess. But
yeah. And the thing is, he's won a Super Bowl, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was part of the Super Bowl team for the Steelers back when they beat the Cardinals. But he's washed. It's sad to say, he's washed. And it's leading to a team that's now basically scrambling because they basically just trusted Ben to, talent his way out of shit, even though he's 75.
How's that working out for you now?
Yeah. And it's not the same anymore. You're working with quarterbacks that, even though they have that NFL experience, they never really had potential. How's the sports ball? Sports ball is good, Con. Welcome by the stream.
The worst thing is, I know that there's a team that we're gonna have. We're talking sour about the Steelers. I can see one team on here that's gonna be even more sour to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy.
We're gonna have to get into that as well. Next we get to talk about my boys, my team, the San Francisco 49ers.
I will let you do your things. I got my goldfish right here. Go off.
It's so frustrating to watch the 49ers this season, because here's the thing. I knew last season, when everyone was talking shit about Jimmy G, when everyone was saying Jimmy G was the worst quarterback to ever play, I defended him. I said Jimmy G has that clutch potential that a lot of quarterbacks are fucking missing. And
I never got it. I never got why people were blaming Jimmy G for what was happening.
Does Jimmy G make stupid mistakes sometimes? Yes. That is clear to see. That is plain to see. But when that man is needed to play clutch, holy shit, does he come in?
I find it weird to blame the person that got you to a Super Bowl.
Who got us to a Super Bowl and almost got us to a second in the span of 3 years.
The only reason you didn't hit, the year between those, I think, is because of how injury held.
Yeah, they were injury held. They were injury held to the maximum, and also they had to deal with the new COVID protocol, which also severely fucked with that team.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had to play out of the Cardinal Stadium because Santa Clara said, you're not allowed to fucking play here. No way, no how. We're not allowing that because your stadium is now our COVID vaccine center for the county.
Oh.
So they didn't want the 49ers playing and basically shutting down where they gave out all the vaccines.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But the thing is, this fucking year, they parade Trey Lance as the savior, as the new face of the 49ers, as the guy who's going to fix the team. And then I watched the first 2 games with him. I watched those first 2 games. I didn't see where the fuck they saw anything in him.
Even if you're a detractor in Josh Allen, you saw in that first year that there was something
there was a spark within the kid. Even though he beat Geno Smith's Seahawks, which we're going to talk about in a little bit here. Even though he beat Geno Smith's Seahawks, I saw cracks in Trey Lance's play. Trey Lance is a run-focused quarterback, and they have a stellar run core. He's an option, but they have a stellar run core. Yeah, they have Debo, and they have Mozart, who are both fucking incredible RBs. It's so frustrating to me Because when Jimmy G came back, he made a humongous difference in the team. But at the same time, the team was already fitted for Trey Lance's scheme. The team was... Well, Jimmy G wasn't in practice because he didn't go to a single practice because the Niners were trying to get rid of him. Because how dare he lose that NFC Championship game? Even though, like, the 49ers had the most amazing season I have seen out of them that last year. They had, on all sides of the ball, that grit and fucking determination. And they wanted to abandon that to go for Trey Lance. Because he's new and he's hot.
And I hate to say it, Sal, this is what your team gets for trying to...
Yeah, and it's totally the hubris of the front office and the coaching staff. And Kyle Shanahan has not shaken off the Falcon syndrome. Kyle Shanahan is a good coach. He fails at the most critical of moments.
Yep.
And
the
problem is I don't know who the fuck the replacement is.
Twice.
Yeah.
Leslie Frazier, maybe, if he goes for a head coaching gig?
Maybe. Like, that's the only bid I can think of to replace Shanahan. But I think that's the problem with the team, is they're now scrambling to get back to Jimmy G's scheme, which worked well last season. But even then, it took them till mid-season to even figure that out. Because if you remember correctly, last season, the 49ers in the beginning were ineffective on offense. They had that stellar defense of, Nick Bosa just basically destroying O-lines as if they're snacks. But...
Nom, 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 nom.
Nom, 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 nom. But they were ineffective on offense. And then they finally figured out, well, Jimmy G is great if you pass over the middle. And also, we have a stellar run core that if we can get our O-line to vibe with, we're golden. And they did. And Debo playing what I'm like half jokingly calling an all-back confused the shit out of teams. It worked flawlessly because Debo has that ability and skill. And deserves the fucking contract that he got. I'm even going to say that for this season. He deserves that contract.
Yeah.
George Kittle is still in contention for one of the best tight ends blocking and receiving I've ever seen. They have that talent and ability. The problem is they're now scrambling to go back to the old way. And they're forgetting what made those successes. And I think that's why they're languishing at 3-3. Is because they're forgetting what made them great.
It's like they're so caught up in, oh no, we lost our starter.
Yeah.
But their starter was right there all along.
Exactly. It should have been Garoppolo from the get. It should have been Garoppolo from the get. I do not give a fuck about what the media says about him. They do not see what I see on the field. And what I see on the field is one of the clutchest quarterbacks I've ever seen, who, when you make the scheme fit him, it works flawlessly. They should have won that Rams game. They should have been in the Super Bowl last year. If it weren't for one mistake demotivating the team, that would have been theirs. But
it almost feels like a Baker Mayfield situation in a way.
In a way. Where it was obvious the 49ers were trying to dump the team, but every media outlet was saying how shit he was, so no one wanted to pick him up. But could you imagine some of these D-tier teams with Garoppolo as quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
They would instantly shoot up one or two places. The Bears with Garoppolo would probably be an ecstatic team to watch. Cleveland with Garoppolo would probably be incredible to witness.
That would probably... I would be rooting for them if they had gone for Garoppolo instead.
Yeah, instead of Deshaun Watson.
I still would have kind of hated them for what they did to Mayfield, but I would also... Yeah.
But they were already looking at getting rid of Mayfield anyhow because he was starting to kind of regress there.
Yeah.
Which is sad to see. But Jimmy G has not regressed. Jimmy G has not faltered in the fact that this team is so dead fucking sent on a quarterback who I still have severe questions on. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? What the fuck is wrong with the front office? What is wrong with the coaching core? We had our formula. Where did it go? I'm putting them in C because they have that high-end talent. They have that ability. They have their quarterback now, again.
Uh-huh.
But everyone in coaching and front office, what the fuck?
I will consent to you on that because you're the fan here.
Yeah.
You know more than I would.
Yeah. I think the main problem with the Niners is they're scrambling to go back to Jimmy's process. But the problem is they've already scheme fit their team for Trey Lance's Kaepernick style of running quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what we're running anymore.
So where does that leave us now? Which
that
team?
leads us to, I believe, Seattle. Geno Smith surprised the shit out of me.
I'm very happy.
I'm very happy that Geno Smith is finding success within this team.
Mm-hmm.
Even with their losses that they've had, like,
They fought.
they fought. The only game where I think they faltered was the 49ers game in week 2. Every other game was clawing to victory for them. Geno has that ability that they wish Russ had during last season.
Yeah,
He makes the talent shine. And it shows.
I can't tell if that is that. Obviously, part of it is on Geno Smith, but does that really say a lot about Pete Carroll as well?
It does, because Pete Carroll is... Okay, Pete Carroll in college, oh my god, was he a terrible coach. Pete Carroll in his early NFL days, holy shit, was he a terrible coach. He has obviously learned his mistakes.
Yeah.
But the last couple seasons of the Seahawks were basically the death of the Legion of Boom. And there's...
Them trying to act like nothing's wrong
while the cornerstones collapse around you. Their defense definitely needs work. It definitely needs work if they want to go up in the tier list. Because it has not recovered from the loss of Sherman.
It has not.
It has not recovered from that loss. And that was all the way back in 2018. I believe. Or 2019.
They're basically in the same place as the Lions, but they're finding ways to win.
Yeah, they're basically like, yeah. Despite it all, I would say even.
Yeah.
I want to put them in B.
I can definitely see that.
I can see them being the NFC West team that gets into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe not a deep run, but I can see them as the NFC team that's going to make it into the playoffs.
Like the 6th or 7th, maybe.
Yeah. Definitely not a high round like these 4 teams.
Not unless everyone else collapses around them. And I think that's either 49ers or Rams division.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see the 49ers collapsing. It's either going to remain in this mediocrity they're in now, or it's going to get better. I don't see them collapsing, even with the loss of Bosa, which he's coming back soon, probably.
That's a good point. Not unless, I don't know, like, they're like, hey, Trey Lance is better now, get out of here. But I don't remember how long he's out for.
He's out for the season.
Okay, yeah.
Broken bone. He's out for the season.
That would do it.
Yeah. Unless they go deep enough into the playoffs, in which case, do not fucking bring him back. Do not. Stop trying with Trey Lance. It's not a thing. The Rams I can see collapsing.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I cannot see the 49ers collapsing at this time.
Is it time to roast Tom Brady?
Oh, is it, or does Tennessee come first? Oh no, Tampa, TA. No, we
yeah. It is time.
It's time.
I have waited for this moment for 20 fucking years.
For a majority of my life, Tom Brady has been the one fuck I hate the most. And it's not because he's a bad person, it's because he's too good at this game.
I as an in-division rival for most of that time, I have a special breed of hatred that can only be quenched when he is either out of this league or when he gets a losing season.
And it's time for the losing season. Oh my god.
It feels so much like it's time.
Yeah.
Losing to Green Bay. Losing to the Steelers. Losing as badly as they did to Kansas City. The only reason they won against the Falcons is because they had their number. I don't know what that had New Orleans game was.
Yeah. I'm doing good, Gord. Thank you for asking. Basically, the Cowboys game was just the Cowboys not being able to do shit.
Yeah.
The Cowboys could not figure out the Bucs defense, which, to be fair, the Bucs defense is still good. Hello, Techno.
That's the only, I guess, decisive win they've had.
Yeah.
And even then,
it's week 1, which is barely the start of the season.
And the fact that they haven't been able to really gain any footing.
Yeah, it seems like only ever since they kind of got past week 2, they've only gone downhill. They may be 3-3, but it's the least convincing 3-3 team I've fucking seen.
Oh, Gronk, are you missing Tom Brady? Well, too bad. he's here suffering and getting pissed off at everyone, and I don't think it's working anymore.
No.
I don't think getting angry at your teammates is working anymore.
No.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm going crazy, but no, I do not think so.
I think when Antonio Brown left the field during that Jets game was the start of the end of the Bucs.
Yep.
And even signing Antonio Brown was a questionable decision in my mind, because why would you willingly let that onto your team? Why would you let that personality get onto your team?
The fact that I feel like the fact that Tom Brady was even willing to give him a chance says enough about Tom Brady as a character.
Yeah. And I don't think it was truly out of the nicety of his heart that he put it as. I think it was basically a win at all cost. I don't give a fuck about this team mindset.
Yeah.
And it's starting to show now.
I don't care how many rings he's won. I don't care if his ego is justified or not. You're a bad person.
Yeah.
You're finally on a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
Thank fucking God.
Yeah. It's back to the same level of production as when Jameis Winston was the QB for the Bucs.
Hey, Tom Brady, remember 2002?
Yeah.
You know, that time you let the Jets lead the division and you weren't injured?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to that time.
Welcome back.
I can totally see Atlanta taking your goddamn place.
I can see it easily. This Bucs team is gone. That Buck teams that made a run last season that got beaten by the Rams in convincing fashion. Even though Tom Brady tried to Tom Brady his way into a close win. That team is gone. And it's not due to any meaningful cuts of the team. It's just Brady should have fucking stayed retired. In my honest and humble opinion, Brady should have fucking stayed retired. He was obviously done. He got what he wanted out of the league. He should have stayed retired.
I guarantee you, the only reason he came back is to give an FU to to the news people.
Probably. Because, first off, anyone who was talking shit about that man for retiring, fuck you.
Yeah.
He deserves his rest now. He made his impact on the league. He is in the conversation for one of the best players to ever play the game, no matter how much I hate saying that. And no matter how many times I rooted for his team to lose every single fucking Super Bowl he played.
Yeah.
I would always root for the other team because, in my words, fuck Tom Brady.
In a lot of people's words.
In a lot of people's words, fuck Tom Brady. He should have stayed gone.
She should have.
He is obviously a shell of his former self. He is getting a lot more upset at the play of his teammates because they are not performing to his expectations, although they're probably matching like the best expectations you can get out of them at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's not fixing shit. That's not changing the culture of the team, and that's not changing the outcomes of your games. It is, in fact, probably making it worse.
He's becoming the exact frauds that those under Belichick's coaching wing have become.
Yes.
In terms of personality.
Yes. Because Belichick has this special ability. Palpatine has this special fucking ability to
Also stretch from time to time, Sal. That's a reminder from my chat.
Sure thing. I'll do that real quick. There we go.
I made sure to stretch too, don't worry.
Yeah. What I think is happening is that the Bucks finally are slow bleeding back into their old form before Brady.
Yeah.
Because that's the form I remember. I don't remember the Mike Evans that was the exceptional receiver. I remember the Mike Evans that was dropping passes that were basically handed to him. I don't remember the defensive core that could basically tear through O-lines. Like they're nothing. I remember the defensive core that was basically allowing runs to go through them for 20 plus yards. I don't remember the quarterback who can basically pull plays out of his ass. I remember Jameis Winston basically matching touchdowns for interceptions.
Yeah.
That was the Bucks before Brady came in and brought half of the fucking Patriots and basically every high-end talent they could find.
They bought their way into a Super Bowl, just like
They bought their way into almost 2 Super Bowls.
The Rams. Yeah. The only reason that stopped was, strangely enough, because of the Rams.
Yeah.
And between the two, I would rather the Rams get that Super Bowl ring.
True. Although...
Because at the very least, Stafford deserves it.
Yes, Stafford definitely deserves a ring because Stafford has lived through mediocrity for most of his career.
Stafford deserves it. Cup deserves it. Aaron Donald deserves it.
Yes.
So many people.
So many people on that team deserve that ring, no matter how much it pains me to say that, because that should have been the 49ers. If it weren't for a few coaching mistakes, because Kyle Shanahan is the 27-3. Pat.
Wait, are you patting me or are you patting yourself?
I'm patting myself. I need it. I need emotional support for dealing with my 49ers this season. I would argue D tier and barely. They are
D-tier.
on the cusp of F.
D tier.
This team has
The only reason
collapsed in a horrific way.
I feel like the only reason they won that Saints game was because Jameis Winston reverted.
Yeah, Jameis Winston reverted because Jameis Winston has actually seen a shit ton of success on that Saints squad. And this was also before they rediscovered Taysom Hill and his talents.
Congrats, you got your one win against the Saints. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. You're not seeing it again.
All right, we got 2 more teams.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are shit.
But they're shit in different ways.
Yeah.
Tennessee is basically, once again, we've talked about this a few times so far with other teams. There is one good player.
Henry.
That's Henry. That's it.
Yeah.
And Henry can run the ball as effectively as he fucking pleases. It will not win you a game.
A.J. Brown left, and they don't really have a passing game.
Now, to be fair to them, their losses are against New York and the Bills.
Yeah.
And their wins are against teams they should be winning against.
But you're not going to get far if you were a possible. You were the number one seed last year.
You were the number one seed last year during a season where both the number one seeds were out in their first game.
Yeah.
Which basically left the rest of it wide the fuck open. You basically have Henry. Ryan Tannehill is no longer that quarterback that can make miracles happen. The receiving core has regressed to the point of basically amoeba, where they barely make impacts in the fucking game. And their defense tries.
It definitely tries.
And the thing is,
even
though they've had success these past 3 weeks, it's against a Raiders franchise that is basically not running schemes with their quarterback. It's against a Colts franchise that basically does not know what the fuck it is. And against a Commanders franchise, which we will talk about in a hot second.
Commanders are commanders.
Commanders are commanders. But Tennessee has basically had its run. It's done.
Their chance was back in, I think, 2019.
Yeah.
2019, 2020.
Mm-hmm. That was their time. 2022, they showed a flash of that brilliance back again, even without Henry, which astounded me because, Henry is their good player.
Yep.
But even now, they're just over-relying on Henry to get these recent wins. When's he going to get injured? Is the question. It's not an if, it's a when.
It's a when. It is.
Because if you keep parading him on the field, it's basically every time you hand him that ball, there's a chance that he tweaks his leg again. There's a chance that he breaks a tendon. There's a chance something happens. And they're just giving him the ball constantly to get these last 3 wins.
Yeah. Some point he's going to tear something and lose his ability to run.
Yeah. He's going to do something that's basically going to end his career at this point. And I'm afraid for Derrick Henry because he's the only solid portion of Tennessee, and the team has recognized that.
Yep.
I don't want to say F tier. I want to say D tier.
They're D tier.
Yeah.
We can save our F for the last team.
For the last team.
Coming up. Because, oh boy.
Oh boy. The Washington Commanders have one good thing, and I only saw it in the Chicago game. Their D-line can stop the run occasionally.
Occasionally. And even that is barely a good thing when you've lost pretty much every single game up to that point.
Yeah. They gave Detroit their first win. Lost to the Eagles, Cowboys, and Titans, and basically had their D-line fighting for their life to win that Chicago game. I'm going to hydrate a bit.
And blew a 14-point lead against the Jaguars or something like that.
Yeah.
Even though they won that game, they should not, as we've seen, they should not have allowed the Jaguars to get back into that.
No, they really should not have. The fact that the Jaguars were even that close is astonishing.
Yeah.
The Commanders are a team without a center. They don't have something to build around. Their quarterback is, their receiving core is, their O-line is cheese. It's Swiss. Their D-line is good in a league of greats. And their safeties are hanging off of people without tackling them. They're running dummies, is what they are. They're the sandbags that players strap to themselves. to practice that kind of running.
They are the epitome of their owner.
Yeah.
And you knew that the season was going to be bad from the start when literally just there was no fans coming to training camp.
Yep.
It's literally 2019 2018, 2019 all over again.
Yep. And the thing is, the Commanders had ekings of possibly being better than they were, and then they crashed back down again. They have nothing to build around. And it's hard to say nuke the team, like get rid of it, because that's a lot of money you're throwing into a furnace to basically, hopefully get a return.
Money that they may not even really have, considering half of the other part of the team, and I feel this is also says a lot. It feels like the team being bad is just another fuel to the fire to everything on Dan Snyder's head.
Yep. And the thing is, Dan Snyder, I don't know if he doesn't see it or if he's willfully ignoring
he's just
this team and what it's become.
He's trying to just push things off. He's trying to get attention off of him.
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing for the last few years. That's what he's going to continue and try to do. It can't happen forever.
And the thing is, Dan Snyder's concern at this time is not his football team. It is to get that new stadium.
Yeah.
He's letting his old stadium fucking rot and spew shit on the fans so that he can get Virginia or Maryland to build him a new stadium. That's his concern.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
He doesn't give a shit about the team. He doesn't give a shit about the players. He probably, any time they had question about personnel, he went, and waved him out of his office. Because he's more concerned about getting his shiny stadium.
Yep.
And it's F+, if like F- even.
Just put them an entire tier lower. Just call them redacted.
Hold on.
If not the Jaguars, if there's a single team that might just disappear off the face of the earth, it's going to be the Washington Redskins. Which is kind of crazy to say because there is that history. But there's technically a history. There is a Super Bowl there. But that's long past.
That's long ago. By the way, do you like what I called this tier?
What is it? I can't entirely see what the name is.
Relegated to the USFL.
I like that. Replace them with, let's hear, a team back in St. Louis and one somewhere else.
I would say, if anywhere needs an NFL franchise, I would probably go for maybe New Mexico even. Get more of that Southwest audience, or go full on like actual Kansas. To get basically the rest of the Midwest away from the Browns and the Bengals.
That makes sense.
And the Packers. Yeah. But just what do you do with the Commanders?
You forget about them. Like
I do most of the time. It's literally the two teams that I'm seeing here who we've basically put in F- tier in a way are teams where it's obvious the owner doesn't give a shit about the team. They have other things on their mind. The Jaguars are looking to move to London, and that is plain to see. And Dan Schneider wants a new stadium. That's their concerns. Not the team, not the on-the-field product, which they should be concerned about.
Yep.
And that is our list.
It got a lot less chaotic after the start, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, because we kind of had a roller coaster of talk about good teams, talk about bad teams, talk about good teams, talk about mid teams, talk about bad team.
Talk about more mid. Talk about more bad.
Yeah.
It says something that there's like 5 teams that are A or higher.
Mm-hmm. Well,
when I feel like
technically there's 2
Yeah.
Patriots up there because whoever made this list decided that we needed to see the back half of the Patriots logo. And it's just football this season as well. I don't know what the modern game has become, but basically it's a lot more evenly matched in a weird way. Where a lot of these, or not evenly matched, like basically a lot of the schemes that people have been using are getting figured out. And it's basically causing every team to fucking scramble. And some of the with an exception of the few being basically Kansas City, consistently good. No one's figured out their shit yet.
Yeah.
The Bills, consistently good. No one's figured out their shit yet. And
Philadelphia, no one's had time to figure out their shit.
Yeah, because it's all new and it's working for them. And the Vikings, no one could have expected. And I bet you people are still going to play down to the New York teams. Guaranteed people are still going to play down to that. And it's going to bite them in the ass.
Honestly, if they're going to get a win in the playoffs, it's because of that.
Yeah. Because for years, the Giants and the Jets were laughingstocks. They were easy wins. Teams didn't really practice much for them. They basically would start concerning about the next week's game.
Yeah.
During their training for the New York game. Because they knew they could just run through them. Now teams are actually going to have to pay attention.
Hell, I feel like I'm probably still underestimating them both in a way.
Possibly. I honestly wanted to move both of these to A tier. I think they have a possibility of a deep run, but we need to see how the rest of the season pans out.
Yeah. Maybe do this again, like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks or so.
Probably.
Just see where all of our predictions have ended up.
I'm going to save this, and we can compare this one to the last one. Or the next one to this one. And figure out where our rankings have shifted. Honestly, if I have any... You can list your predictions as well. I think New York's going to move up. I think possibly the Cowboys are going to move down. And honestly, the only other team I can see moving out of maybe D tier, possibly the Colts if they figure their shit out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Depending on how things go this week for the Dolphins, I could see them either moving up or moving down, but I feel far more comfortable with down. I am going to actually be bold here and say Bengals could possibly move up, and I think the Falcons can also move up.
I think the Falcons have the possibility of doing it. Bengals moving up to A is going to take a lot of effort on their part. But it's possible. It is definitely possible.
It's possible, but I guess something else I can see, if they continue on their pace, if they continue to improve as the year goes on, I can see the Saints at least moving to C. I don't think they have a chance to get it. If not C, then maybe a very, very edge-worthy B.
Yeah. The Saints have the potential to move up. The problem is just that finishability. They need to find it. Wherever it was hidden before, they need to figure it out.
I think they could possibly do it. They almost snuck in last year.
Yeah, they really were close last year.
If they can somehow pull off even more of that.
Yeah.
But to an even greater extent, it's again very edgeworthy case of B, very possible C.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's where I leave my predictions.
Yeah. I don't. Speaking of our teams, I don't see the Bills moving out of S unless something severe happens.
If Josh Allen gets injured,
If Josh Allen gets injured, or like a large part of the receiving core gets injured.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see the Bills moving even into A. And my team, if they finally figure out what the fuck they're doing, I can see them moving to B. But right now, I think they're perpetually stuck in C for the season. I think they were truly not prepared for Garoppolo to even play a game.
I wish you the best and hope that things work out for you.
I hope so too. I honestly think they should have won against that Falcons squad, but
I guess that's it though. Huh?
Yeah, I guess that's all for today.
Shall we end this off on another fuck Dolphins?
Yeah, fuck the Dolphins, fuck their organization, fuck their doctor.
Yeah, fuck everything about them.
Yep. All right, shall we dual raid into somebody?
Your choice. I'll leave it to you.
You'll leave it to me. Okay. After the chaos that was our conversation on a lot of these teams, I think going into another chaotic stream is probably a fun idea.
Ooh, that does sound good.
So I want to raid into a streamer I really, really like, Jall.
How do you spell that?
Jall.
Okay. That's it?
Yep. Do we want to mute and do our outros and all that?
Sure.
Okay. I'll talk to you in a bit.
Same here.
All right, everybody. Let's head on over here. Oh, fuck me sideways. I have to add a source. I forgot to add Sally to the source. Let me make our raid message. Real quick. Here is the one for subscribers. If you're not one, I completely understand. But I do have some fun emotes, and some Solario ones are coming soon. For those of you who are not, here will be your raid message. There we go. Enjoy your time over at Jall's channel. I really enjoyed this stream. I cannot wait to do this with Lusa again. I rarely get to talk football. It's so much fucking fun. But I will talk to you all another time. But for now, Butler out. Bye-bye, everybody. Enjoy Jall's channel.